Oh boy, I hope you're ready for this one. We have all 9 Elite Series qualifiers in one show. That's right. Easton Fothergill, Cody Meyer, Tucker Smith, Paul Marks, Emil Wagner, Andrew Loberg, Dakota Ebare, Beau Browning, and Evan Kung join me this week on...
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course my humpers. Come on in. You're all welcome here at the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. Welcome into the 184th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope wherever you are in the world, life is treating you good. Let me clear my throat. I should have done that before I started recording this, but that would mean I'd have to be a lot more professional. And you guys know, at times I am not. But I pulled something off this week that I'm pretty freaking proud of. We did it last year. And like in my household, if we do something my kids enjoy, then the next year they're like, well, that's a tradition. We have to do it again. So this has become a tradition where we have to have all 9 of the Elite Series rookies on, the qualifiers. A fun show always. It was last year, and I hope it is again this year. But a freaking nightmare to wrangle 9 of them and spend the time recording. And also, it happened on a week where we had phenomenal weather here this past week, and I was trying to hammer in 2 or 3 final days of swimming with the fishes. So if I look refreshed and happy or sound refreshed and happy to those of you listening on the streaming services, it's because I've been swimming with the fishes the last few days. Some incredible footage. That's my happy place. I mean, I got a lot of happy places. I mean, I enjoy talking to you guys, but there is something that comes from swimming with the fish for me that it's a magical thing. Shot some great largemouth footage, some great smallmouth footage, some walleye footage, which I've never been able to get underwater before. And believe it or not, one of the toughest fish to get under the water, and they're so tough and got a big rep, but they are tough to shoot underwater with, is pike and muskie. Still trying to get some muskie, but I shot with some pike this week, and one that was shockingly large. When you're swimming beside, I mean, I've never once before, there's a reason I don't shoot in salt water, because I don't like sharks. I'm not really worried about much in fresh water, but there was a pike I swam beside where I was like, it is shockingly large compared to me. The only thing that made me feel good is it had a giant bulge in its gut. Looked like it had probably just eaten a 4-pound smallmouth bass or something moments before. But, yeah, a great week, a phenomenal week, and I'm feeling refreshed and happy. Lots going on in the fishing world. The Bassmaster Opens announced their schedule and how you qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. But before we worry about next year, well, I guess this is worrying about next year. Next year, these 9 will be joining the Bassmaster Elite Series, and I got to change. I look at this as we'll probably do full-length podcasts with some of these anglers in the future, hopefully all of these anglers in the future. But this is an opportunity for me to spend 10, 15 minutes with each of the rookies so you guys get to know them. It's kind of like speed dating, but for anglers. That didn't make it sound any better. It's weird that I introduce people for a living, but I make these intros so awkward. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to go from 9th to 1st. Obviously, Easton Fothergill is your angler of the year from the EQs, and we will start in 9th place. The 5th Canadian to join the Bassmaster Elite Series, Evan Kung. And here's the thing. Don't hold it against me, but he's the only one that gets an actual intro, because the rest of them we're just going to keep running because this is already a long podcast. But some of you like long ones. I'll stop talking. Evan Kung. Evan Kung, welcome to the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Yeah, thank you. It was a stressful year, but we made it through.
Stressful indeed. Number 9, the last guy. I mean, we got some people in this show that they went to the last event feeling pretty comfortable. I imagine you did not go into the last event feeling comfortable at all.
No, I definitely did not. I knew I had to catch them because the other guys were going to catch them. And then even after the first day, it didn't solve anything. So I knew even last day of the year, I knew I had to catch them again.
Did the switch of venue due to weather, did that help you or hurt you, you think?
Well, in the end, maybe it helped me. Like, I like Hartwell. I've been there a few times. I did all right in a tournament there. But I think the other guys also like Hartwell. I think everyone likes Hartwell. So maybe the switch of events, maybe it helped me. I had no experience there. I just went out and did what I like to do and caught some fish.
Well, now you're on the Elite Series, but you're not the only Canadian. You are now 5 Canadians on the Bassmaster Elite Series, which is amazing because we're a few years removed from having it where people thought, will a Canadian ever be here? Did those other 4 have much to do with you chasing this dream?
Definitely growing up watching the Johnson brothers and Gussie on FLW, it was like a dream of mine to do it, but I didn't think it was possible. But then when Cooper did it through the Opens, that's when I knew and I could tell my parents that it's actually something that I could try and do and help me on my way. So it's definitely Cooper had the biggest influence, but I grew up watching all the other guys, so it was always a dream of mine to do it.
Have you heard from any of them since qualifying?
Yeah, Gussie has
of course.
reached out. Yeah, and Cooper has too. I talk to Cooper all the time. Like if I ever have any questions or anything about it, he's always there to help me. So he's been good through it all. And I've known him since I was young. We fished in junior clubs and stuff together.
Very cool. Very cool. This may shock a bunch of people, but we don't know each other. I mean, everybody thinks that I know every Canadian, but I think this is the first time we've ever met, right?
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
I reached out to you via Instagram earlier in the year to tell you to keep on going, and it's awesome to have you in the Elite Series. What are you most excited about in this coming year?
Probably meeting a lot of the people that I've watched on TV and on YouTube growing up my whole life. Just meeting all those guys and getting to fish against them, and just learning all the new lakes. I always love going to new lakes and learning them, and with less practice days, which I actually like. So it should be a fun year.
A lot of people seem to say that. Why do you dislike the abundance of practice days that happen in the Opens?
I just think so much can change in 5 days.
Yeah.
And also in the Opens, maybe in the Elites, it wouldn't be too bad if there was 5 days, but with 200 plus boats on those lakes for 5 days, everybody finds everything and everything gets destroyed. All the fish have seen lures. It gets a lot tougher, which, I mean, I don't mind, but I'd rather have like the Elites 2.5 practice days. That's more than enough for me.
So who are you outside of fishing? If you can't go fishing, what tell me about Evan Kung. Who the hell is Evan Kung?
I mean, I don't do that much other than fishing. If I'm not fishing, I'm probably online buying fishing stuff. I play video games sometimes with my friends just for something to do. But usually it's always fishing.
We got some gamers on the Elite Series. Yeah, Brandon Cobb's a big gamer. What game do you play?
I've played everything. Call of Duty, I play a lot with my friends. Used to play Fortnite when that was big, but probably Call of Duty the most.
What has the last week been like for you since qualifying?
It's been pretty crazy. A lot of people reaching out and then trying to figure out sponsors and all that stuff for next year. It's a lot been going on in a very short amount of time because we don't have that long to get ready. We got a couple months and then we're back on the road.
Yeah. It's like, congratulations, you made it. Now get to work.
Yeah, get to work. You got to pay deposits.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of breathing room.
No.
You've been competing in some Canadian tournaments too throughout the year.
Yeah, I've done a lot of them. Canadian Open, Thousand Islands Open. I fished at CSFL. I used to fish with my dad, but couldn't do it this year because schedules got all messed up. But I did a few this year.
Do you think your success down south has made you better up here?
I don't even know if just a success, but even last year when I was down south and not doing great, coming back home and fishing Canadian tournaments, it felt so easy. Like I don't know why, it felt different coming up here and fishing in Canadian tournaments.
Yeah, and
I
that's
don't
why I
know
asked
why.
that, because
Yeah,
it feels like that. Like when I see people, I mean, and success brings confidence, and confidence makes you a better angler. But there is something there that, like, when you've looked across and been like, "Wow, there's Greg Hackney there
yeah,
coming home." Not that it's easy, but it's just less of a stress, I would
yeah.
assume.
It can go out and just it's more enjoyable and it's more like fun fishing. It's not even like I'm in a tournament sometimes back here. I can just relax. There's no stress, and I think that helps me fish better up here.
How do you fish? Explain to me how you are as an angler. Where are your strengths? Where are your weaknesses?
Well, strength me from Canada. I like the smallmouth fishing and the live scoping. But growing up fishing with my dad in all the tournaments, all he ever did was fish shallow docks, largemouth. So I can do both. I prefer the smallmouth side, but I know how to do the largemouth side, and I'm pretty good at it. I did it this year a lot. But so I grew up doing that, but I don't know. I prefer the smallmouth and the using live scope and stuff like that.
What changed in the last 12 months in the way that, like, when I look at your finishes from the previous year, you had some moments, but I
Yeah.
mean, you led angler of the year for a good portion of this year. You were a much more dominant angler this season than you were the previous season. What changed for you?
I think I just got more confident in myself and I learned to practice and stuff my own way. Last year, I would talk to some guys about in practice and then hear how they're finding fish, and then I'm trying to do that. But it wasn't the way I like to fish. So I think it messed me up a little bit. This year, I just did it all myself. Didn't listen to anyone, didn't talk to many people. And I just did it my own way, and it worked out this year. Maybe if it was different lakes, it wouldn't have worked out. But for this year, it worked out.
Avoiding dock talk seems to be a big thing for a lot of people, but it's the weirdest thing is that's not something you heard for the first time. Like you had to go. It's weird to me that, like, every article you read, avoid dock talk, avoid dock talk. Why is it so hard to avoid that when you first start?
I think it's just being at the lakes for the first time. You think it's better to get the most info you can, but I rather just go in not knowing anything and just figuring it out then. Because you can maybe someone 2 weeks ago had a tournament and you listen to how people caught them or whatever, but in 2 weeks it can change so much. So I just like to go out and figure it out that week and do it myself.
Yeah, it works. And in the opens, I mean, you almost have to do it that way. Like I've heard one of the worst things you can do is go out the first day of pre-fish and catch them because there's no way that it will play 5 days later.
And that's usually what happens. First day of practice is always the best day.
Are you traveling with anyone next year? Have you got that planned out yet?
Haven't planned any of that stuff out yet. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Usually, I would just stay on my own and sleep in the back of the truck, is what I did the last 2 years. But I'm not sure about next year. I got to figure something out.
You might be sleeping in the truck, maybe not. Does that all depend on sponsors?
Part of it, yeah. It's expensive to try and stay anywhere else.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
But dude, congratulations. You've done something that only 4 other Canadians have ever done, and you should be very proud of yourself. I know you got a lot of work to get done here, but way to go. Kudos. I mean, that what you did is not easy to finish in the top 9 and qualify. Kudos.
Yeah, thank you. Got very stressful at the end. I wish it was a little not so stressful, but we made it. It's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Got it done in the end, and I'll see you in February, I guess, if I don't run into you somewhere in the streets of Canada before then.
Maybe I'll see you in Port Perry over there.
Oh, you're always welcome. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'll be totally honest. This is a weird one for me. Beau Browning. Okay. You're the kid who sits in this crowd and watches your dad weigh in. How the hell am I going to MC you?
I don't know. I told everybody, I was like, there's two things that I look forward to: career achievements. It's walking across the stage with Mercer and having Zona be commentating on me on Bass Live, and Zona obviously stepped away, retired. Happy for him, but I've got you, Mercer. So I'm just saying, get ready, get ready. You're getting all of it.
Well, thank you, and I'm sorry I'm all we're all you
No,
got. But I feel like I don't think Zona's totally. It's like the mob, dude. You can't get totally out. I mean, I think we'll have a little Zona back from time to
right,
time, maybe.
right. No, he's a really good guy. And he texted me the other day, and you texted me, and I was like, well, there's my two heroes right there that just texted me. So I must have done something right.
Well, you definitely did a lot right, but who the heck is Beau Browning other than Stephen Browning's son? I mean, what the fishing world? I mean, tell me what you've been up to. I mean, every time I see you, you've got more hair, you're taller, and but what have you been doing?
I've been trying to survive. I mean, you go into the gauntlet of opens. I went through college, I guess,
Yeah.
and made it through college, and then jumped right into the opens, that gauntlet that we call it. 9 tournaments where everything's on the line, no bad days. It's just there's no screwing up when it comes to fishing the opens, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize is it's so cutthroat. And jumped right into that. I quit golfing, if you were wondering. I gave up on that a while ago. So
Fool.
I went full in on the fishing thing, and yeah, I took off with it. Just kind of roll with the punches and started chasing that dream that I've had since I was a young kid, watching my dad walk across the stage with you. So it was cool to finally get to fish, to really try to qualify, and try to make it, and to make it obviously is just, it's more than I could have dreamed up.
Was it a tough decision to quit golfing? I mean, because you're a pretty good golfer too.
Yeah, I thought it was. I actually went yesterday and played a round of golf just to do something other than fish, kind of a decompression type round of golf, and immediately my blood pressure was through the roof, and I realized why I quit golf in the first place, and lost like 30 balls, and wanted to break all my clubs, and was like, you know what? I think fishing is my thing. I think.
Seems like a pretty easy decision. What What did your dad have to say?
When I made it,
Yeah.
he was stoked. He really was. There was lots of tears shed when that second day at Martin, when I came off the water. I mean, obviously the pressure had been so high for so long, and for it to officially be over and not know at the moment, if I made it or not. But obviously they knew that things looked pretty good from watching Bass Track and things like that, and watching live, that it kind of felt like one of those days where it was my time. If you guys watched live, you could tell, like, I got in the rhythm early, and things rolled well. And to get back to the dock, I mean, my boat pulled up. I pulled up to the dock and stepped out of my boat and immediately hugged my mom and dad and just started crying. I mean, there was nothing. It was one of those moments where you knew you left it all out there, and if it was meant to be, it was going to happen. So there was lots of tears shed, and I tell everybody the whole that, and then the day after, waiting for the official ceremony, it was like a constant hand on my back, like patting me from dad, because you could feel it. He was so proud, and that was as a young man, all you want to do is make your parents proud. So that was a really, really surreal, cool moment, that 24 hours, I would say, after that I checked in that last day.
Do you think? I mean, it doesn't really matter what way you answer this because your situation's your situation. But do you think being the son of a pro made this journey easier or tougher?
There's definitely things where it helps. I mean, the biggest thing for me was having that help navigating the industry. I mean, as well as I do, this industry is hard to navigate. I mean, and it eats a lot of guys alive, unfortunately. I hate to say that and sound negative, but it's also a really, really cool industry, because the stuff that we get to do and experience in our industry is a really, really neat way. And then, you watch people do what they love. That's so cool to me, to get to see guys doing what they love, whether it's at a professional angling level, or if it's working in the industry for a company. Like, guys are doing, you hear more people saying they're doing what they love than, oh, I'm going to work again. So, not to throw any shade at our industry, but as far as a professional angler, it's tough to navigate. So,
Yeah.
him giving me that guidance all these years of how to, set yourself up and prepare for that professional angling side of things really helped a lot. And also, I mean, he taught me everything he knew. I mean, he knows. And that old school power fishing, wind your chatter cricket down the bank, dob your cricket in that little bush right there, that outside tree up there, that channel swing bank. I learned so much of that. But then he pushed me big time into learning on my own level as well. I mean, I've always said that he, from the time I was in my early teens, really started pushing me to learn on my own, and that made me a really good angler. And then the negative side of it would probably be the fact that everybody expects you to catch them everywhere you step foot. I mean, there's no doubt that everybody, especially in like the college days, it was like, oh, Beau Brown didn't catch him. I bet his daddy's dots didn't pay off. That type of crap that comes along with it. But it makes you better. It makes you want to catch them even more, because it's like, yeah, throw the pressure on me a little bit. Let's see what I got. So that extra added pressure, I think, made me a better angler.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that it's just a weird thing about. I think we always say this industry, but I'm sure in golf it's the same. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when
Right.
Charlie Woods goes to. I mean, your dad's going to be super cool because in this story he's Tiger. Kind of cool part of the story. I guess this is part of the story that isn't cool. I guess come to think of it, but. Charlie Woods is not going to have an easy everybody's, and
Right.
even when he does well, he'd be like, well, of course he did well
Exactly.
because of this. And if he doesn't do well, it didn't work. It's kind of a weird thing. But that feeling you said you had when you're golfing, your blood pressure, do you get that when you're fishing?
Yeah, sometimes. And I really felt it early on this season in the opens, because I was the first 3 or 4 tournaments this year, I was really trying to force things to happen. And what I mean by that is, like, when things weren't going good, I was really trying to just control it all and not getting spun out, because I'm really not the type to get spun out, but it was getting to me mentally more than it should have. And Santee, no, Logan Martin was where it turned around. Santee, on my last cast, second day I had 4 for about 9 pounds. And in my last cast, I catch a 5-pounder, and that saved my tournament. Logan Martin was the same way going at the end of the second day. I had 5 for like a solid 8 pounds, and I catch a 4.5 on my last cast before check in. And then I started to realize, hey, if this is going to happen, it's going to happen whether you can control it or not. Like, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And then I just started letting everything come to me and just happen the way it's supposed to, and quit trying to force everything. You guys get so caught up in trying to make it happen, and you got to make it happen to an extent, but you can't get all strung out trying to, you know, getting caught up in trying to make it happen. You just got to do your job and let things roll the way they're going to roll.
I think it's the same as other sports. I mean, I just feel we remove golf, prime example. I mean, you go try kill that ball, and
You're going to
generally
think,
it sucks.
yeah,
What happened to you yesterday? Um,
right, exactly.
but if you're just swinging, you know that feeling, the connection. I mean, fishing's the same, but I think for whatever reason we don't put those terms to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's really the exact same. What's your goal for next year?
My goal is to make the classic. I mean, and some people might hear that and think, well, that's it. Like, he doesn't want to win every tournament or win one, and it's not. I want to make the classic. I feel like it drives every one of us as anglers to walk across that classic stage. The biggest goal is to win the classic, obviously, but you got to make it there first. So my goal is to make the classic. That's what I want to do. And in our world, making classics is what gets you paid. That's what shows up on the resume. You got to make classics. So I want to make classics, and I'm sure wins will come along the way if it's meant to be, and a classic win would, that's one of those deals that I say it's a goal, but it's going to come when it's supposed to come. It's going to happen the way it's meant to happen. So my main goal next year is just to make the classic, but I'm really looking forward to that schedule. I'm stoked for that that schedule. For a rookie coming in, I feel like it's gonna, for me, I feel like it's gonna really allow me to showcase my true fishing. The river tournament that we have in, I think, North Carolina. I can't pronounce.
I can't either. I got to work on it.
You got the hard job too, because I don't know how many times I got to say it. But and then like 10 Killer and early summer. That's going to be some neat tournaments that we're gonna have on the schedule. And then Sabine, an old grinder tournament on Sabine. So it's a neat schedule, and I'm really looking forward to a few of them. But not in the sense that I'm coming on here saying I'm going to win any of them. But it's just going to it'll allow me to fish the way I really like to fish. I feel like.
Well, if you guys are anything like last year's rookie class, I mean, they all made the freaking classic. It is incredible how that is happening. And I think everybody points at forward-facing sonar, but I honestly feel that so much of it has to do with collegiate fishing. What did you take from that experience?
Collegiate fishing was nice, and I talked about this on a show a couple of days ago. Was it really shows that age group of guys wanting to go to the next level, what goes on not only on the water but on the road as well. I mean, it prepares you. You're not surprised by a flat tire or a minor inconvenience, and it doesn't. You get used to this stuff. You learn the ways of the road. You learn about all these lakes across the country. You learn about yourself. I mean, it's college. You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn about yourself as well, and it's a cool growing experience to better prepare you to then go to the opens, then go to the elites. It's a perfect stepping stone, and Bass does a great job with it as well. Is making it a stepping stone to the next level wherever you want to go, or if you want to go work in the industry, man. I mean, so many of those guys I went to college with went straight to work in the industry. It's a network. It's a networking tool.
That's wild. I mean, whether it's Ronnie Moore as a commentator, former collegiate angler, or to all of the people, Luke Stoner works for Dynamic, or just all of the people that were collegiate anglers that, I mean, it is probably your easiest way to get a job in the industry, bar none.
And that's what I tell kids all the time. Like, whether you want to be a professional fisherman or not, it's a huge, huge stepping stone for wherever you want to go, wherever you want. And you get a college degree on top of it. So that helps, obviously, a lot.
Why is Easton Fothergill such a freak?
I think a little bit of Aaron Martin's got reincarnated into Easton Fothergill. He's such a quiet, nitpicky, one of those he's weird. He's kind of a little bit weird, but in a good way. Like, he's got that weird side of him that's so quiet, but he's so dominant and so focused on what he's doing that he's got a little bit of that Aaron Martin's, in him, I think, a lot. That's what I tell people all the time. If you get around him, I roomed with him, so that was an interesting ride, because I'm talkative, all over the place, and then I'm like, here's my friend in the corner back here who's threading hairs through a dice rubber right now.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever seen him do?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think, because we were college roommates too, but we're probably not.
I've already talked to him. He gave me dirt on you.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
What did he have to say?
Well, I can't tell you. You have to watch the show. I mean, we need all the clicks we can get.
I don't know. He does a lot of weird stuff. I think one time he ate a piece of pizza and he started from the crust and ate it like from the crust to the pointy part, and that just really, really weirded me out one time. I don't know what his deal was with that, but that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen him do. That's when I realized he probably wasn't programmed like the rest of us.
He is a different dude. But one thing you both have in common is you're horrible at trash talking each other. I asked him to give me something on you, and he was like, he hemmed and hawed for a while, and then he was like, he can catch him on a chatterbait better than anybody on earth. I'm like, that is not dirt. That's not even close to dirt. It's not even sand.
I've got nothing bad to say about Easton and his family they're incredible people. They really and truly are like good as gold, and I wish I could have a little. There's definitely some aspects of fishing that I wish I could have just a sliver of his talent, especially with the with the forward facing side of things. Man, he's so freaking good at it that it blows my mind. He's one of those guys that I'll call during practice every once in a while when it's not going good. I'm like, what do I need to have my settings on? Maybe that's what the problem is. It's just come over here and dial in my live scope just a little bit better because it's in my head. It's in my head. So and fishing with him is hard because he will catch every one of them in front of you.
Really?
Oh yeah, we fished a lot together up in Minnesota this summer, and every time it was like, I guess I'll grab my chatterbait and see if I can pick one off back here behind him because there's no chance I'm going to catch one in front of or around him. I can't fish against him.
Well, he's not the only one that comes from a special family. You come from an amazing family. And I just thought of this while you were talking. I was like, I don't know what's going to be weirder, introducing you on stage or looking down in the front row and having your dad watch you weigh in, which I'm sure he'll be a soccer dad coming to some weigh-ins. I mean, it's going to be bizarre.
It is going to be weird seeing him out there holding fat heads or whatever. And you know, it's weird, and it's neat to see it go on, and it's really crazy to see how excited he is for it. Like, you know, he's asking me every day. He's like, "What are you researching? What are you doing? What are you doing to get better?" And you know, right now it's a lot of business stuff, so getting things in line. But like I said, it's nice having him around to kind of bounce things off of. But you can tell he's like fanboying a little bit here in the house, so it's kind of neat.
It's very cool and a great gift to you to see as a kid. You know what I mean? Because that's, like you said, that's what every kid wants. You know, that pat on the back to be like, "Hey, good job." And you deserve a lot of them because it ain't easy to make the Elite Series. But I'm sure happy to have a Browning back on the Bassmaster Elite Series stage.
I cannot wait for it. Cannot wait. Chomping at the bit.
All right, go do some work. Make some sponsor deals, and I'm
gonna try to get that slice out of my golf swing today, and see if I can. Actually, there's a few things I said I was gonna get back into. It's golf, bow hunting, obviously, and I'm gonna try to get into this whole BFS side of fishing. Have you heard of this?
Oh, bait finesse.
Yes, this has been on my bucket list for the off season to try to get into bait finesse fishing.
Dude, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's been trying to become a thing for 10 years, 12 years. Like, it's been huge in Japan. But to me, I'm like, that's why everything that bait finesse does is why they invented a friggin' spinning rod. No,
I got to try to get into it. It's something that I haven't done. And in the fishing side of things, I got to get into it. So if anybody has any bait finesse tips, please send them my way because that's one of my off-season goals is to try out this whole bait finesse thing.
I could see how that would be a thing for you because, I mean, you're not much different than your dad. I mean,
right.
A spinning rod, he wasn't a big fan. I literally fished with him once on Table Rock at a media event. We're in his boat, and I'm like, "Where's your drop shot weights? I'm going to throw it." Because the day before, I had hammered him on a drop shot, and we went up some muddy creek throwing a jig, obviously. He had no drop shot weights. I think I had to use like a split shot to drop shot with.
That's you won't catch me doing it on the Elites next year, but it's going to be one of my little side quests that I get into this off season for sure, just to see.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this, and I look forward to seeing you all season long.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Dakota Ebare, welcome to the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Dude, I like the way that sounds.
How did you make that decision? I mean, I just talked to Cody Meyer a little while ago, and Cody, another guy who had a solid career where he was, there was seemingly no reason for you to make that decision, to take that risk. What drove you to take that risk?
I don't know. There was a lot of kind of spiritual intuition, I think, going on in there. I just felt like it was the right place for me to be. You know, you ever feel like you're just drawn to go do something different? You know, you just want, and I've always dreamed of fishing on the Bassmaster Elite Series and walking across the classic stage, having that opportunity. I mean, everybody says that, and it's because it's it's the pinnacle of our sport, and I've had to work the classic over the last several years, and it's like, dang, I want to be fishing this thing, man, but that's not just it, I mean, having the opportunity to go to these weigh-ins and meet fans and represent my sponsors on that stage and stuff. I mean, it's the pinnacle of our sport, and I definitely want to be a part of it.
Well, we're glad you're a part of it, and I look forward to having you on the Elite Series for many years to come. But I did do a little research on you. And
you said you didn't research.
Well, hardly any. But I knew this, and I just double-checked it. You were a former bullfighter, and I've wanted to ask somebody a question about this because we've had several people in this industry that, dabbled in the bullfighting world, which is the dude who scares the bull away from the cowboy when he gets –
I wouldn't say scared. I would say more just distracts him.
Yeah, I guess that's a better analogy.
He's not scared.
Ever. What drives a person to say, hey, I don't want to ride the bull. I want to be the dude who's it's chasing.
I wasn't real good at it.
At riding the bull?
No.
So that's how the decision came?
Yeah, man. I mean, I really enjoy it. I love rodeo, man. I love, especially, on the rough stock end of things, bucking bulls and bucking horses and all that stuff. I really enjoyed being around that stuff. I like the adrenaline rush, and I've got some good buddies that are still doing it for a living, still to this day. And I'm kind of living vicariously through them the same way they look at me like, man, I wish I could fish for a living. I'm like, yeah, I wish I was as good at riding bulls as you too, because I'd be doing that, But no, honestly, it just happened. Like one day, we were bucking bulls. That's just what and practicing and stuff. And I just got out there in a practice pen and was like, man, I'm actually kind of good at this, and I kind of suck at riding bulls. So like, I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't gonna go make a living doing it. I wasn't gonna go make the NFR or anything like that. And I just realized I was better in the arena. And I could still be around the sport and have my place in it. So.
Well, it's kind of like me in tournament fishing. I wasn't good enough to do it, so I decided to yell and scream about people that do it. But the difference is I never had a bull running at me. Like, what is you have to have had some bad injuries.
I landed pretty well. I bounced good.
You're a good bouncer?
Yeah. I was kind of catty. Like, I'd land on my feet a bunch, No, but isn't that interesting though? Like I never fished a tournament against you. I'm sure you're a phenomenal angler. You've got to be to have the knowledge that you do about the sport. But it's like it's funny how we all find our place. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look how good you are at your job and how much of an impact you've been able to have on the sport of bass fishing, doing what you do. And at some point, you had to make a decision to say, you know what, like I can have a bigger impact on the industry and a better impact on the industry being MC, and I have this wonderful opportunity in front of me. So you probably had to sacrifice some tournaments for that, obviously, and it's the same thing for me, right? Like, I mean, as much as I want to be a bull rider, I was actually really good at fighting bulls, and I knew that. And so that was my place in the sport. And it comes all the way down to fishing. I got to the point in college where I was, I was in college where I was at because I moved there to rodeo. I was living in Stephenville, Texas, which is the cowboy capital of the world. I had a little rodeo scholarship that allowed me to go to school out of state because I grew up in Louisiana. And that was how I ended up where I did. And I ended up becoming friends with some of the guys on the college fishing team. We started going to college tournaments. We started doing really well. And I was like, dang, man, what do I I hit a crossroads just like, in the rodeo scene. And I was like, man, I've got to pick fishing or I got to pick rodeoing. And just the doors kept opening in the fishing industry. And like, I just kept doing well at tournaments and I had no idea what I was doing. Like I'm at Grand Lake. I've never seen that much rock. I've never, I'm from Louisiana, man. Like I had no idea what I was doing and somehow just catching them. And it just took off.
Yeah. And if the rodeo thing was a little easier for you, those you never would have took that shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do believe people, if you're truly lucky in life, you end up where you're meant to be. Like if you're truly, I consider myself, but people ask me all the time, like, I literally would not switch spots with you guys at all. Like, they're like, well, wouldn't you want to win the classic? Well, sure. Everyone would love to win the classic, but I love what I do.
Oh yeah. And how cool is it that you get to do what you do? You
Yeah.
know, like,
It's bizarre.
you know, it's awesome, man. I mean, you know, like I look, and I'll be honest with you, like I fully appreciate and respect more than I can ever express what you do on that classic stage, but I don't want to do that. Hell no, I'd mess that up so bad. Like I don't want the pressure of doing that on that classic stage. You know, like so like my hat's off to you for doing it. You know, I mean, so I understand totally. Like it's just different. Man, everybody's got their place. And doing what you do, don't worry, I ain't never gonna take your job.
Well, I'm not taking yours, so we'll get along good. um, Qualifying for the Elite Series throughout the season, were there key baits, key techniques that got you here, or was it just a lot of variety through those 9 events?
You know, I weighed in a lot of fish on a frog.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, man. Like the topwater deal for me this year was a lot of fun.
I
You know,
thought fish
Okeechobee.
don't bite that anymore. I thought
Yeah, no, if you're not pinging a minnow, like you can't catch bass. Sorry, I'm just gonna ruin somebody's day today. Somebody's gonna watch this and they're gonna immediately be pissed because like I just spent $732 on minnows and you're telling me you're catching them on a frog and 65-pound test braid? Yep, still happens.
Why do you think a frog was such a big player this past year?
You know, just the venues we went to set up pretty well for
Yeah.
that. You know, frog and topwater. You know, I mean, Martin for me was topwater mostly too. You know, but it was just, you know, it was a lot of fun being able to fish that way. I mean, I truly, like, people ask all the time, how do you like to catch them, or what's your favorite way to catch them, or what's your, man, I've always kind of tried to be as versatile as I possibly can. You know, that was one of the cool things about fishing in college and traveling all those new places. Like that's whenever I started realizing, like, I really enjoyed going to those new places, learning new ways to catch them, and that's what kind of fuels me. You know, I don't want there to be any way that I can't catch them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go into a fishery and say, "Well, this is my weakness." You know, so the schedule just lined up this year to catch some good topwater fish. You know, Okeechobee was great. I caught a bunch of them on top obviously at the Mississippi River. I caught a bunch of them on top at Martin. So, you know, and it's weird. It was because it's kind of funny, but I was either like really power fishing that way, or I caught a lot of them on top at Eufaula too. I was throwing a little topwater bait there. But I was either power fishing or I was throwing a minnow.
Yeah.
You know, so it's an interesting balance. But I definitely weighed in a bunch of fish on a Strike King Baby Z2 as well. So without a doubt.
That gets bites. That's a bite getter, that bait.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna try to go power fishing, but then whenever I need to, you know, if I got to get a bite, it's coming out of the box, and I ain't got no shame in it.
This last week, I mean, I guess you've been a qualifier for a week. Do you instantly, from the moment you know that that's where you're going, do you instantly start preparing for those events, or have you just taken a little time away? What has this last week been like for you?
You know, it's really just been a breath of fresh air, man. I mean, I have been wound up tight for the last, you know, I mean, that was such a I put so much pressure on myself to make it this year, you know, because of, you know, before, whenever I made the Bass Pro Tour, you know, nobody really knew who I was for the most part, except for regionally maybe. And you know, I don't know, I'd had some success at FLW, but it wasn't a big deal to sponsors and stuff like endemic, you know, industry sponsors. Nobody, you know, I didn't gain those sponsors until I made the Bass Pro Tour. But this year, making the decision to step down from a professional tour, go back to the qualifying ranks, I put so much pressure on myself to get back to that professional stage, to be able to represent Strike King and Lose and Bass Pro Shops and Nitro and all that, because those companies, you know, I felt like I owed them that, you know. Yeah. I mean, and so the pressure of that, you know, the whole time we're planning on doing all this content for the Elite Series next year. Strike King's in the works of doing all this stuff, and we got all these big plans, and I'm like, I'm not even qualified yet. Like, I still have 2 tournaments left. Like, y'all gonna have to chill out a little bit because you're about to make me lose my mind, you know, because I just had so much pressure on me to make it. So where I'm going with all that is that, like, man, when I finally got to just,
yeah,
you know, then I could start processing all that stuff. But you know, I'm definitely looking forward to the St. Johns River and all the elite, you know, the entire elite schedule next year. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I will start preparing. You know, I'll do my homework. You know, but I don't do as much as I used to. Like before, I would really spend a ton of time researching every single place that I went to, and like, but then you figure, like, I feel like whenever you do that, man, you have in your mind what you want to do before you ever get there, and sometimes that works out, but sometimes that hurts you,
yeah.
right? So I focus more now on just trying to be prepared from a tackle standpoint, making sure I have everything that I might need. I'll get a good, overview of the lake and stuff if I've never been there before and have some ideas. But I really like to go in these tournaments with just a fresh, open mind and figure out what's going on in that moment, at that tournament, at that time.
You had to make a big adjustment. I talked to Cody about this, and I just could. The more I think about it, I just could think, wow, that's got to be a mind melter. You went from competing in events against 40 people that you literally could launch a boat wherever you wanted when the weather was bad. You had lunch breaks to stop and take a break, and then you went to the opens, and you're all of a sudden, wait a second, I'm against 225 dudes that pre-fish this thing relentlessly, sometimes to a fault going into the event. How tough was that transition?
I can tell you right now, there were probably a couple times throughout the course of the season that Cody and I both looked in the mirror and said, "You're an idiot." Like, we had it made. Like, really. From some perspectives, fishing against 40 guys and the pace of that deal, and just it was fun. Like, it was kind of easy. It wasn't like the competition's hard. Fishing against some of the best anglers in the world, but like, just the pace of that stuff was just pretty laid back. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to rush back to weigh in. You never had to worry about your boat breaking down and not making it back to weigh in or any of that stuff. And then jumping into a field of 225 just savages, man. Like, gosh dang, you talk about an adjustment, big time. But I continued fishing invitational events and Toyota Series events, so I've still been, over the last several years, been fishing against big fields. But I'll say that, man, the competition level at the Opens is second to none. Those guys are phenomenal anglers. There's 20 more of them that could qualify for the Elite Series right now and be competitive for sure. And just the sheer number of boats on a fishery, man, that makes the whole thing, especially with 5 days of practice. You put 5 days of practice, 225 guys on a place. They're going to decimate it. They're going to everything. So much changes in 5 days of practice with 200 boats. It's unbelievable. It's inevitable. You think about if every angler caught 5 bass a day in 5 days of practice, how many bass is that?
I'm not very.
That's just
it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot of freaking bass getting caught, and there ain't that many of them sitting on stumps at most of the lakes we go to. It changes everything. So you were constantly having to try to shoot in front of the target and figure out where everything was going to land, when the tournament started. So it was very, very challenging. And hats off to the other 8 guys and the other guys that barely missed it, or because like I said, there's 20 more guys that 20. I would say there's 20 more guys that could be very competitive at the Elite Series this year right now.
It's an incredible time in the sport. Like, it is almost an overabundance. Like, if you look at the split that happened, like, I look back at it now and I'm like, I don't think the sport literally knew how much what was coming. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it has to do with the collegiate thing and everything. But there's just many. And when you look at, how many guys have tried to make through the Opens, like great anglers, like Bobby Lane, Ish, B Height, like so Tharp, like there's so many of them that are trying, and it is not an easy thing to pull off. But
you asked me earlier if there's something I want to talk about in particular, or anything I didn't. I told you there was nothing I didn't, and there ain't. But I will say this: this is something I actually kind of want to bring up. Like, I want to encourage these guys that are fishing the Opens and these high school anglers and these college anglers to continue to get better. I want them to push me, which they are inevitably, to get better. I felt the pressure this year, like, because I can't say that whenever you end up. I make the decision. Yeah, I think I have the ability to make it. But then whenever you start struggling a little bit in the Opens, like, it really kind of pushed me. It made me realize, dang, these guys are getting really good. Like, I thought I was pretty good, but these guys are catching up quick. And if I don't get my butt back to work, they're going to be whooping my butt, and I'm going to be a thing of the past the next couple of years. So I can look at that and say, look, there ain't no letting off the gas pedal. I've got to continue to get better. But where I'm going with all that is that for the last 20 years of the sport, okay, I'm 32. Since I was 12 years old, I started really following the sport. Everybody has been pushing that we're going to grow the sport. We're going to grow the sport. We're going to grow the sport. Well, guess what? We've grown the sport. Okay?
Amen.
And there's a lot of like kickbacks to that, and a lot of changes that are happening right now because of that. There's so much new talent coming up, and it's just created an interesting dynamic that we haven't really had, I don't think, up until this point to this level in our sport. And we see a lot of like negative kickbacks from that in a way. We hear a lot of fussing and all the stuff on social media and everything. But in reality, like, I want to encourage these younger guys that are the future of the sport to don't let all that stuff, like, don't let all the negativity and everything deter you from what you want to do and for the opportunities that are out there for you, because they are out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm so thankful for everything that I have, that this sport has given me, and I didn't pay attention to all that stuff. So if you have the want to and the will and the power to do it, and you're willing to not take no for an answer, the opportunities are out there. So I want to make sure that I encourage those guys to chase your dreams and continue to love bass fishing, and don't let the bullshit distract you.
Amen. That is freaking the truth, and it needs to be said more.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but it hurts people's feelings whenever you tell it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're growing the sport. The sport is kind of headed in the right direction. It's just a little fuzzy. You know what I'm saying? We've got some challenges ahead of us, that have come up. But, I think at the end of the day, more people fishing is a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we just got to figure out how to harness all of it. And at some point in time, we're going to do it. I mean, as long as more people continue to do it, more people continue to get involved in fishing, it's going to get there. So we just got to keep working.
The one thing we don't hear anymore, and this was a thing you heard 15 years ago, there's no youth. Who's going to, who's coming up? Like, there was like, kids aren't fishing. You don't hear that. Now you're like, there's too many damn kids out here now.
Yeah. And how we can't, man, like, that takes a lot of audacity to think and to put that stuff out there after, guys have spent their entire career trying to build the sport. You built the sport. Now we're going to throw shade at the youth, too many kids out there. Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just want to, like I said, just encourage those guys to continue working, continue enjoying the sport, and good things can happen.
Well, good things are happening for you, and I can't wait to have you on the Elite Series.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm through the moon, excited about it, and it's crazy because last year after the end of the season, like, I just really had it on my heart that I needed to make a change, and I just, like, the entire off season I spent in a deer stand just like fighting with myself because I had, everything was going really good on paper where I was, and I was being very successful from a financial standpoint and all this, but I just felt like this is where I was meant to be. And so I fought that the entire off season, and I didn't focus on getting better. I didn't even look at my boat. I didn't fool with my fishing tackle or anything like that. And right now, like, I am so fired up about fishing. I almost want to not go sit in a deer stand. And that is crazy. So, like, it's just got a total different vibe for me going into the off season. I'm so excited for February, and it's going to be fun. I'm really excited.
It's going to be a fun year and a great rookie class. Not that you're a rookie, but a great class coming in.
Yeah, I can't be a rookie. Come on, man.
Yeah, you friggin' won too much. Trials and tribulations of success.
Yeah, well, I guess that's not a bad thing. I'm gonna be rooting. Who's gonna get rookie of the year?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to bet against Easton right now. I mean, but yeah. I mean, dude,
it's hard to bet against Easton right now. That's for sure. Like, and Easton, definitely, yeah, man. I don't know.
But it could be anyone. It
could be. Paul Marks is really, really good. They're all really, really good. But Tucker's won a bunch of money. Hell, does Tucker get to be a rookie?
Yeah.
He won like $1 million tournament.
Yeah, but not with Bass. Yeah, no, he did. He pins the right ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. What is the threshold over $500,000? Like, you can't have $500,000 in professional earnings. Is that the rule?
500 or I don't know if it's 500 or $1 million or whatever. I think it's $1 million. I don't know what it is.
Either or, you got it.
I had it. I didn't spend it. You see this house? It's gone. I got to make some more. I didn't make a whole lot fishing the Opens this year. So we got to get to work on the Elite Series next year.
Well, I have a feeling you have many paychecks ahead of you on the Elite Series. Dakota Ebare. Can't wait to see you out there.
Thank you, man.
Andrew Loberg, first of all, congratulations. Welcome to the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Thanks.
How does it feel?
It's pretty surreal, man. It's honestly, it's sunk in, but honestly hasn't. I've gotten a couple emails from Lisa, and that's kind of been, you kind of get one of those like, whoa, this is actually like a real deal. and obviously celebrated after. I actually flew home last night to California to celebrate with some friends and family. Do a little fishing here on Clear Lake. So, but yeah, it's kind of been a whirlwind deal, but a lot of fun, and I'm just super stoked.
So you don't live in California now, do you?
No, I live in Guntersville.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
I moved to Guntersville this basically a year ago.
okay.
Decided to pack the bags and hit the road out east and live there full time, and I absolutely love it.
That move was all fueled by bass, I imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah, and obviously too, the expense of living in California and just being on the road and stuff. I mean, it was a must for me to be in Guntersville, and I've got some buddies that live in Guntersville too. So it was kind of an easy move. It was tough, because obviously for friends and family, everyone's back here, but in order for me to do the whole fishing deal, it just made the most sense in being back there and meeting new people, and the fishing industry is just so much bigger out there. So that's kind of why I did it.
It'll be nice to have another West Coast angler on the Elite
Yeah.
Series, because I mean, it seemed like for years it was. I mean, there hasn't ever been a ton, but the ones that have come, incredible impact that they've made.
Yeah.
Will you be flying the West Coast flag? Are you a West Coast angler?
Yeah, no, I am. The roots out here and the fishing, man, it's so good, and the anglers are so good out here. Obviously, as everybody knows, we don't have as many anglers as the rest of the country does, but the guys that are into it are just diehard dudes, and they're really good fishermen, and it's good to represent those guys that obviously that couldn't make it out here or out east to do it. I mean, it's such a long path from being from the West, and you kind of got to give up a lot of things, which is a bummer because not many people realize how far removed California is. I mean, it's a whole different country. Fishing's different. I mean, it's a whole different place. I mean, as you know, being in Canada, it's just different. I mean, it's a whole different deal. So it is a lot of sacrifice, but I'm happy with everything that's happened.
Yeah, it's actually easier to do it from Canada than it is from California. I mean, it's just that much further. I mean, it doesn't. When you put it in your GPS, it doesn't calculate in hours; it calculates in days.
Yeah. No, it's like a 3-day drive wherever you want to go. I mean, it's funny because when there's tournaments in Texas, you're like, oh, it's not that far. But like from my house, like where I grew up to, let's just say Dallas, that's a 22-hour drive.
Wow.
I mean, that's you plug it in and that's like a 22-hour drive. So everywhere you go, it's just far, but you definitely get to know the highways pretty well.
So you did a little celebrating last night. What is an Andrew Loberg celebration like?
Last night we kept it pretty chill because I actually got into town about 9-10 o'clock, but it was just my parents and my brother and stuff here, and then I got some buddies and stuff coming up tomorrow. Have a big barbecue and stuff, but for me, man, I'm 30. I don't look 30, but I just like to chill, have a couple pops, and do a little fishing, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
When did this dream start for you?
When I was young, I grew up kind of in a bass fishing family, man. My dad, my grandfather, all my uncles, they were kind of diehard anglers and tournament dudes. No one made it to like obviously the top or traveled, but just locally, they've just fished in California and the West Coast. And for some reason, when I was like a little kid, that's just watching Bassmasters and watching TV and going with my dad. I just got hooked bad. I mean, in middle school, high school, that's all I wanted to do was fish. And I kind of tried to set myself up to do it. And it is weird because it felt so far removed to actually do it. Like it just felt like a real dream. Like, you watch like, Kevin Van Dam and Aaron Martins and all these guys that you see on TV out on like a Guntersville, Okeechobee, and it just seemed like a fairy tale because being from out west, you're like, I have no clue what's going on out there. Like you would never think that you were ever going to fish those lakes. So you were like, man, that'd be really cool. I'd love to do it, but never, it just kind of felt like a weird dream. But yeah, but growing up out here and fishing with my dad and team tournaments and stuff and fishing high school and college tournaments, there was just those stepping stones to be able to do it, and made it happen.
How many people told you were crazy when you were moving out east?
A lot of people, because being out here, it's like, there's obviously, I said, that you have the diehard bass fishermen, you have the buddies. They're like, dude, you could do it. Just rip out there, go ahead. But you also have some friends and family and coworkers, and they're like, you want to go where and do what? It's just not a big deal out here. So, there was a lot of people that would tell. I mean, you had teachers and stuff that'd be like, dude, there's no way.
How much did those teachers, and I mean, maybe it wasn't a teacher, but I mean, I think I get it. I mean, everybody who works in this industry was laughed at by a teacher or
Yeah.
a relative or whatever. But how many of those motivated you to actually accomplish what you're doing?
Oh, it was full motivation. It was
Yeah.
like, I was just in my head, I'm just like, I want to prove you wrong. I want to do it. I will never stop and do it. Like, I always want to do it. So it was definitely fuel in the fire.
It's the weirdest thing about doubters, or
Mhm.
haters, whatever you want to refer to them as. Like, they literally help you more. That if somebody puts their arms around you and says, "Hey, man, I know you can do it,"
Yeah,
that feels wonderful. That feels
exactly.
great. But it
Exactly.
doesn't fuel you. Like, it doesn't
No,
keep you on the water for an
yeah,
extra few hours.
no. And there's a little bit more fuel over here on the West, because it is that much harder to do it. Guys from California and the West, and then international anglers. I mean, all those dudes they go through a lot to get to that point.
Is there a West Coast angler you've looked up to?
Probably Aaron Martin's probably the most.
Yeah.
Amart, and then Brent Ayler, Mark Daniels, and a bunch of those dudes. And then once I saw Bryant Smith do it, it was you start seeing some guys that kind of start getting closer to your age, and you get a little older, and you're like, okay, I think it might, if they can do it. I'm not saying I can, but they've done it. So let's get some gears in motion. Let's go do it. But yeah, those are some of the dudes I looked up to the most.
So what did you do for a job up until this point?
I work in ag consulting.
Okay.
So I'm kind of born and raised in the Sacramento Valley. So I work for an ag consulting company, and I still work for them now, and I wouldn't be able to do any of it without them. They allowed me to take the time off work and kind of chase the dream, and that's what I've been doing.
So what is ad consulting? Like, helping come up with creative ideas, or what?
Yeah, so it's pretty much and consulting is kind of everything under the sun. But we work a lot with water districts and things like that around California, because water is gold out here.
Yeah.
Nitrogen management plans, yields. I mean, California is known for growing all specialty crops: almonds, walnuts, pistachios, all your lettuces, leafy greens in that Salinas Valley. So there's a lot to manage, and the regulatory and compliance system out here is so strict, just being in California. So there's always work to be had. But it's just like, anything in the outdoors, the ag industry just piqued my interest, and I've enjoyed it because it's just ever changing, and it's there's a lot of work to be had.
And your plan is to keep at that job while you're on the Elite Series?
Yeah, as long as they keep me, I'd love to still work for them. Keep making some money, because as you know, this fishing thing is not a cheap deal.
No, it's not. And the weird thing is, everybody focuses to make the elites, and I always explain this to people, and they think like, okay, I'm going to make the elites, and then it's going to get easier. And it's no different than literally going from grade school to high school.
Right.
In grade 7 and grade 8, you were the oldest kids in school. You were the king of the school. Then you went to grade 9, and it was like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. What's going on?
I'm the small fish all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens on the elites. But with the hype around all the young anglers, how has the sponsor game been for you up to this point?
It's been a little tricky. I'm slowly working on it. The last couple of years being back east and working on it, I've definitely gained some sponsors, but I wasn't, which is probably not a great thing, but I wasn't fully focused on social media and YouTube at that point, just because of work and other obligations. But I kind of told myself, once I kind of made it professionally, whether it be with the elites or whatever it may be, any other circuit. I want to dive in full time and do it as hard as I can to try to do it full time no matter what. So I'm kind of all in for next year with all of it. So hopefully, and I know it's growing pains. I know it's just what it is with sponsors and building your brand. So it'll take time. It's, I never expected once you made the elites or whatever it may be that you're just going to get handed everything. I understood all that. It's definitely a work in progress. So I'm ready to tackle it. And, once you go through the opens and make it, it's like now the real work begins. It was definitely a lot of hard work, but it's now's the time where we strap your boots up and really get to work.
What kind of angler are you? What would you say your game is?
Man, I feel like I'm a pretty good power fisherman, man. If there's grass in the lake, that's my deal. I love grass fishing. I love throwing the big stick. I grew up basically on Clear Lake. You could probably see it right
Oh,
there.
like literally on Clear Lake.
Yeah,
Nice.
We're here. But yeah, I mean this lake it's taught me so much with just being an all around fisherman. But power fishing is probably one of my favorite things, and I could obviously throw the light line and things like that. But most folks think being from California, you're like the Cody Meyer, Aaron Martins with the spinning rod. But I grew up on this Clear Lake and that Cal Delta with a big stick, so I really enjoy doing that. Very
cool. What kind of person are you away from fishing? What are you into? Explain to me. We're speed dating now.
Yeah, no, it's really fishing 24/7, but I really enjoy duck hunting in the off season. I'm actually flying up to Alberta this Sunday to go duck hunting next week with one of my good buddies, Jed Lamb. He guides up there, and then I love golfing, but I love fishing, dude. I'm a bass head. I'm just always on the water.
That's what it takes to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you
got to be on that water, man. You got to learn. That's all there is to it.
So did you do any of the college stuff?
Yeah.
Any collegiate fishing growing up? Yeah, you did that, right?
Yeah, I fished for Chico State in Northern California.
Okay. Yeah. What was your takeaway from that experience?
It was awesome, man. I loved it. I mean, it was obviously a lot smaller out here, but man, we had a really close, tight-knit group out in the West from Washington, Oregon, down to Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado, and we all knew each other. We would, it was a lot easier to make the championships, to go back east with the Bassmaster and FLW college championships. So it was cool because, I mean, we're 18 to 21 years old. We'd all call each other and caravan, pack the trucks up and drive 3 days out east, a bunch of college kids, and go fish these tournaments. And we had no clue. We were all cocky, thinking like, oh, we're these California guys coming out to your lakes, and we'd get smoked out there. But it was a lot of fun, learned a lot, and it actually opened up some doors and some connections out east, meeting people my age, because I met Jordan and Matt Lee when I was younger out there, a bunch of those guys fishing, and it was cool to do that experience.
Who of the other 8 qualifiers should we be most scared of next year as an angler, if you're an angler?
I'd say Emil Wagner. I travel with him. That dude is a fishing freak. That dude's he literally, so I'll kind of pick on him a little bit. He finished like 190th at Santee. And you're like, you against this group in the opens, like you get past 100s, like that's your seasons. I mean, that's a tough one. He like top 20 or top 15, all of them. I mean, he was a freak. But Emil, he's a solid angler. He fishes all the time, and he knows so much about just how fish work. Tucker Smith, Paul Marks, all those dudes. I mean, honestly, the whole Cody Myers, I mean, nuts. I mean, that dude, he's obviously from California. That he's just a fishy dude. I mean, it's tough to pin one person down, but I'd have to give a little shout out to my buddy Emil that I traveled with. That dude, he knows what's up.
He sure does. Are you going to be traveling with him next year? Is that the plan?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're going to be bunking together.
Very cool. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen him do? And he'll get an opportunity to tell me that about you. So this is your chance to defend yourself.
The weirdest thing, I don't know. That's a tough one. The weirdest thing he's done. I don't know. I really don't. He's a pretty straight edge dude, man. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you, this rookie class, you guys are great anglers, but very bad trash talkers. I have tried this with everybody else I've recorded
Yeah.
with so far, and all of them. Like the
Yeah,
most
I
trash
don't-
talk I've got so far is Easton Fothergill thought long and hard about it, and then he was like, Beau Browning can catch him on a chatterbait better than anyone else. And I'm like, that is
Yeah.
not. That's the
Yeah.
furthest thing from trash talking.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. That dude cannot wake up. That
No.
dude, I've had to wake him up for tournament days, practice days. That dude can sleep.
Like,
And
what
for
time
me,
will he sleep till if you don't beat him out of bed?
10 o'clock, 11, doesn't matter. I mean,
Wow.
there were some practice days. I mean, that's how good he is. There were some practice days where he slept in till like 10, 11. He's like, you didn't wake me up. I'm like, dude, you're a grown man. I got to get a little edge on you.
You didn't wake me up.
Yeah.
Well,
that dude sleeps, man.
well, he catches him when he's awake, but
Yeah,
so do
no,
you. And I'm
does.
excited to have you on the Elite Series. Don't have any fun in Alberta next week. The hunting sucks out
Yeah, I
there.
know. Can't wait to pick up that shotgun.
Well, I can't wait to see you at the first Elite, but congratulations and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be a fun year.
Emil Wagner, you are a Bassmaster Elite Series pro and maybe kind of a fortune teller. I mean, I met you at NASA, which makes us both sound really smart. And a group of people around you said to me right away that this dude's coming. He's coming to the Elite Series. And no less than 9 events later, you're a freaking Elite Series qualifier.
Yeah, dude, I can't believe it. I took a big gamble making a change to the opens this year. Had a lot of success over at MLF, and I was very aware of the fact that I could get stuck in the opens for 3-4 years and still not make it. There's some incredible fishermen in the opens that have been there for a couple of years, and yeah, I'm just happy I got it done in one shot. It saved me a lot of money and stress.
What drove you to make that change? Because like you said, I mean, you were doing well, building towards a great career where you were at. I mean, there was a lot of risk involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really, it came down to, last year I ended up fishing a lot of Toyota series and, still a bunch of BFLs. I still hop in anything I can just to try to make some money, but I really just ended up making way more money than I expected fishing. So I was like, no, I have enough to go fish whatever I want. And, I just started thinking of it in terms of a career, and I've always known there wasn't anything else I wanted to do. But in terms of a tournament career, I've been watching the elites ever since I started watching tournament fishing. So probably since I was 12 years old. And, I said this to some guys the other night, and it's no disrespect towards MLF whatsoever. But when someone, wins an elite event, I think it just means a lot more to me and the people I know. So it's like, I don't know. I think I just want to, if I was going to build a career somewhere long term, I just wanted it to be with bass. So that's kind of the brand I grew up watching, and
Makes sense. Makes total sense. I mean, I think that's the whole thing that everybody overlooks with bass. It's a connection to the past. It's
Exactly.
a connection to the future. Even it's just. I mean, there's only one Kentucky Derby. There's only one Daytona 500. There's only one Bassmaster Classic, and I've emceed 15 of them now, and I still get that feeling when you walk. Like before anything starts, when I first walk in the arena, you just get that. The hair on the back of your neck stands up. It's very cool.
Especially like when the split happened, it's like me and I thought that surely I was like, there's this has got to be it, and it was like they survived that easily like 1 year after, and I was like, holy cow, like that tells the whole story. So kind of crazy.
Where's your story start? I mean, I know you weren't born in the United States. You're Danish, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was born in Denmark. My whole family, outside of my parents and immediate siblings, all live over there. And I'm one of 7, same mom, same dad. So
Wow, that's a big
yeah,
family.
big family.
Where are
And
you in the pecking order? Where?
yep. So I got 2 older, 4 younger.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously, my 2 older siblings lived there for a little longer than me. And then I was born there, lived there till I was like 2 years old. And my dad's job actually brought us over here. And we were only supposed to be here for like 2, 3, 4 years. And we just ended up staying. And dude, I'm happy we did. I've been back a bunch and I like it over there, but I'm happy I don't live over there. I really like it over here. So
Yeah, who wants to live in a country that doesn't have bass?
that's what I'm saying. There's literally no bass over there. But and it's dude in the winter, like it's light out for like literally 3 or 4 hours a day, and it's like super cold, and it's just I couldn't do that, but I do like it over there, just in small doses.
I hear you. I mean, I was actually born in Ireland and lived there till I was 5. And I love
Oh, no
going to
way.
see, all my family lives there other than my direct family, brothers and sisters. And
I don't know how I've never heard that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know it. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people don't even realize I'm Canadian. They're like, really? Really?
I mean,
but yeah, no, I lived there till I was 5 and I love going back there. But I just look at like, there's so many, my parents moved here for one reason. It was for us, the kids, to have more opportunity. And now they got a son who yells things when people hold up bass. There wasn't, I mean, I would probably I might have been dead if I lived in Belfast, but if I wasn't, I'd probably be a bingo caller. I like my job better.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. It's kind of wild though. I don't know how I started bass fishing coming from Denmark. I don't know. I just liked it ever since I was little. But
so it was something that was in you. Like it wasn't your parents saying, "Hey, you need to do this." It was just
not at all. If anything, they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" After I, started guiding and quit my job after college. But no, dude, I don't even know. Like, I don't have like some specific day or anything I remember I started fishing. I've just been doing it ever since pretty much I could walk. I remember the one neighborhood I lived most of my childhood in. There was a pond I'd go down to like every freaking day after school almost. And, progress into middle school. My best friend, William, he had a canoe with a trolling motor. We took that thing out literally every chance we got. And then I started the team at my high school in 9th grade. And I figured out you could merge fishing with tournaments. And I'm really competitive. And once, dude, I played tennis for 8 years before that. And once I fished my first bass tournament, and I might have fished one little local tournament when I was 15 with my buddy. But once I fished my first one, I was like, this is 100% it.
It's weird how everybody that either competes or works in this industry, like you hear them tell their story and it's the same. Like it's
like there's no question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a question of I want to do it. I have to figure out a way to do this. I mean,
right.
Actually, and I didn't know this about you. I did some quick research real quick, but I didn't know this even meeting you through Pure Fishing. You actually worked there for like 8 months and then said, "Hey, this is a cool job, but this ain't fishing."
They had, I worked in the digital marketing area a little bit. I was still a contract employee, so I wasn't on salary or anything, but man, I enjoyed my time over there. And then towards the end, they were going through some management changes, and I really wanted to start a guide service, and it kind of made sense. And dude, I'm happy I did. I love the people over there more than anything, but it's dude, I love guiding, and I needed something that allowed me to make money, obviously, because this sport's stupid expensive, but at the same time be able to come home and work for 2 weeks and then hit the road for another 2 weeks. So yeah, I love guiding. It's perfect for me.
One of the cool things about you qualifying and doing it in 9 events, the only 9 Bassmaster events you've ever competed in.
I did fish a couple college events.
Oh, did you? Oh, college events, but I mean,
but I get
you got to chronicle your whole thing through the AFCO boot camp, which I think is a really cool campaign. And I got to see some of did that help you? I mean, not just the funding, but I would wonder as you're going through that process, just forcing yourself to look back at your footage and see what went wrong, what went right. That had to help.
Yeah. So honestly, the looking back on the footage, that helped a little bit, but more than anything, I've gotten so comfortable in front of a camera now. Whereas before I started that series, like, I got a buddy I filmed some stuff with locally, just little edits and whatever, something for a sponsor. And like, I would try to script everything I would say, and it always sounded awful. And I just started like just speaking into the camera. And like yesterday, we did a shoot for Yamaha, and we did like a long interview. And dude, I just straight off the dome, I didn't even think of anything, and it was like one shot, and that was 100% just because I'd been doing that all year. So I think it really just helped me more in like that sense, honestly, more than anything, which is huge when you're talking, outside of fishing. Because I mean, I want to film all my tournaments next year. You're going to be doing a lot of work for sponsors, so being able to talk comfortably in front of the cameras, it was big for me anyway.
Yeah, and it forces you to do it. I mean, I actually, a lot of times when people ask me, and I'm talking like high school people and stuff, well, I'm sure you get contacted by a lot of them, and they'll always say, what is something I should, and I'm like, record yourself, spend time in front of the camera. And even if it never goes anywhere, I mean, you did it under pressure where you had to put it up on Avco's YouTube, but even if it never goes anywhere and you're just chronicling it, you get comfortable. I mean, because there's a big difference between having a conversation, and then as soon as somebody puts a camera in your face, and if you want to be a pro angler nowadays, that's a huge part of your job. Like 25 100%. Years ago, you might have just been able to be like, I'm a jig guy. I fish, but now you need to be good on camera.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Who's the weirdest person that qualified in your group of 9?
Oh God.
I mean, weird can be a good thing.
I don't know. I bet Easton got a little bonus during that brain surgery. He got him to expand some kind of something in his brain to make him catch every bass in the lake.
They put a new flux capacitor in there, and now he's a machine. He is. I mean, he is very like. I mean, it's shocking how good and how calm and like. He does not seem like his age at all.
No. Yeah, it's funny with fishermen. I feel like we're either like, you meet guys who are like super just even keeled, like you'll never rattle them. And then you have guys who are just like, I don't know. First one that comes to mind, like Brian New, like just all over the place.
Total spaz. Me and Lee Livesey laugh all the time. We've literally, both of us, we added up. Both of us have seen him fall down 4 or 5 times in like, I'm just talking like going through the parking lot on his way.
Like just doing a normal everyday activity. That's hilarious.
He's like a South Park character.
Right.
But yeah, so where would you be on that? Are you more the even-keeled guy?
Dude, I don't know, honestly. I guess I'm contradicting what I just said, but I'm pretty even-keeled, but then there are times when shit just hits the fan. But no, I'd say I'm pretty even-keeled. All around.
I'd say you're pretty even keeled. And I think speaking of shit hitting the fan, one of those moments happened to you in qualifying. When I looked through your results through those 9 tournaments, dude, you had 8 stellar events, but you had one event that you had to leave feeling like, maybe I should go back to tennis.
Yeah, literally. No, dude, that was one of those events. I mean, I finished pretty much dead last. I got 189, and it was honestly just one of those tournaments where like you could not do anything right. And every move I made, I was questioning that move, already thinking about the next one, wasn't getting any bites, wasn't focusing on what I was doing. And dude, I just couldn't get anything going. I mean, it's plain and simple. I didn't lose any. It was just a terrible event. And I hope I never have another one that bad. But part of me is also like, if I don't have that tournament, maybe I don't have the comeback that I did.
Yeah.
So maybe if I get a 70th there, I'm not as fired up after that one to go. Because I knew after that one, like it was like you got to ball out the rest of the season if you want to even have a shot. Which I didn't even think there was a chance, but then I just kept going, and it was like a couple tournaments later, I was within striking distance. But yeah, dude, It sucks because if it wasn't for if I just like got a top 100 in that one. I would have been up there with Easton, but at the same time, I mean, it's whatever. It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
How was it? You hear people talk about, I mean, Greg Hackney said qualifying back to the Elite Series was one of the most stressful things he's done in his life. And you're talking about a guy who's literally won everything in fishing at every league other than the Bassmaster Classic. And he says one of the most stressful things. What would you say?
100% bar none the most stressful thing I've ever done.
Wow. So
by far. I mean, the first day of Martin, oh my God, that was the most stressful day of fishing I've ever had in my entire life. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. You're like jacked out of your gourd, but you're also like really nervous and like you're thinking of just screwing everything up. I don't know. Like, the second day I was really calm, but no, dude, it was weird. After Santee, I was like really stressed those first three. And then after Santee, I was like really calm right up until the last two. But then it's like whenever you have a chance, you're way more stressed. And when you're a little further out of it, you're kind of like, if I do good, I'll do good. But no, dude, those guys are so good and it's such big fields and the fishing gets so tough after 5 days. So it's like the combination of all that makes it. I mean, everyone says that fishes them. It's a gauntlet. And I mean, it's tough, but it should be tough. So it's all good.
Yeah, no, you got more cameras in your face. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's even just podcasts are calling you into those last few. It's that ramp up where you're just like, just let me fish.
Dude, they did. So you know how they did that little production thing. I don't remember what they called it, but it was like welcome the top 9 elite qualifiers, and they had like interviews from us, like from separate tournaments. Like some of them were guys after Okeechobee. And whatever they said, like, what would it mean to be an elite angler? They did that interview with me after Santee, and I was like,
damn.
"You gotta be kidding me right now!" So, like, I just got done with the worst tournament of my life, and they got the big camera. They're like, "What would it mean to be an elite angler?" I'm like, "Well, I'm in 45th in points now, but I'll do my best to answer this."
Great timing.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm looking forward to having you on the Elite Series. I promise I won't call you the Great Dane. You can speak Dutch, right? Or Danish?
Yeah.
Danish, sorry. Showing how ignorant I am.
No, everyone, honestly, most people say Dutch right off the rip. But yeah, I speak it fluently pretty much every day. Like to my parents or to my siblings, I speak Danish.
Can you give me a little Danish now? Like just
oh God.
Tell the fine folks thanks for tuning in Danish or something.
I got to figure out how to phrase it right.
You can say anything, just so you know. You can say the Danish viewers of this show are probably very low, so you can say whatever you want. I won't know.
Mange tak for at høre efter.
Hell yeah, all about that. Mange tak. Teach me here. What did we just say?
I said many thanks for listening. So it was just mange
tak
for
at
høre efter.
Oh, that's messed up. They say the English language is the hardest language to learn, but that seems pretty confusing to me.
It's different. It's like a lot of little dialects and stuff. So I don't know. But
just making sounds.
You'll get to hear it at some point. I'll make sure to get on the phone or something and you can hear it. It'll sound like Chinese.
Please do. Get super pissed at somebody this year and just go off.
I've thought about that. I was like, if you really wanted to freak someone out in the tournament, imagine if you just started yelling at them in a different language. It's crazy.
Oh, it would be awesome. Well, it's going to be an awesome year. A great future ahead of you, dude. And I look forward to doing more of this and seeing you on the stage.
Absolutely. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
What are all those bobbleheads?
Yeah, there's a lot of bobbleheads. That's you have trophies. I have bobbleheads.
Cool.
Paul Marks, you've made the Bassmaster Elite Series. How does that feel?
I don't even know if it's really set in yet, but it's cool. I'm really looking forward to it and gonna have a lot of fun, I think. So.
Okay, so this show today, I mean, normally we do longer segments with people. This is kind of like speed dating for pro anglers. I know you never thought you'd be looking across at me, but this is an opportunity for people to get to know you. Who is Paul Marks?
I don't know, just a kid from Lake Lanier that, I don't know, all the stars have aligned last couple of years and just kind of, it's all worked out pretty good.
When did this dream start for you?
I did a division of opens, I think, in 2022. Just one division. Just I don't know. I didn't. I had a good year locally the year before where I could pay to go do it. I just kind of went and did it for fun, and then I don't know. I've had some other successes in tournaments, and I don't know. I figured I might as well try to make the elites.
Yeah, you're an All-American champion, right? Recently
Yes,
won
sir.
that this
Yes,
past
sir.
year. Several All-American champions, obviously. Emil, a former All-American champion. When you look at our rookie class going into 2025, and obviously you've heard lots about the 2024 rookie class being as young as they were. I mean, you're only 22 years old, but it's a pretty accomplished rookie class.
Yeah,
Like most of you have won some kind of major title somewhere.
for sure, for sure. I mean, all of us are really good. I think it's gonna be we're gonna be strong. So
How did you fall in love with the sport of fishing? How old were you?
I don't know. Probably since I could crawl. My dad's always tournament fished, and I don't know. That's all I've ever done is hunt, fish, trap, and do a lot of outdoor stuff.
That's your life.
Pretty much, yes, sir.
What do you do when you're not hunting or fishing?
I work with my dad a little bit. He has a bait store on Lanier, Oakwood Bait and
Okay.
Tackle. So I work there some when I'm home. This year I didn't really work much. Just I was always gone like the whole year.
Lanier is, I mean, I wish we'd bring an elite to Lanier, and I'm sure you're the same, but it just seems to be lakes go through these cycles, but it seems like Lanier is
It
on
just
the
keeps
right
getting better.
side right now.
Takes about a pound more every year, it seems like, to win. It used to take 19, then 20, 21. Now it's 22 or 23 every tournament. So
Why do you think it keeps getting better?
no one has any idea because there's so much pressure out there and so many tournaments, and I don't know how it stays good. They're smart. They're hard to catch, but they just keep getting bigger every year.
So let me know what kind of angler are you? If you had to classify yourself, where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses?
I mean, I'm definitely a scoper, but I mean, I can do other stuff too. Like I'd go skip docks at Logan Martin or Lake Martin to do good, but my thing I'm the worst at is probably dirty water. I don't like dirty water at all.
Do you, when you say the term scoper, are you almost afraid to say that nowadays, or are you a proud damn scoper?
I don't know. I'm proud of it. I've done well with it, but I don't know. I got it right when it came out, and I don't know. I guess I was 17 or 18 when I got it, and I don't know. Really used it a lot to help me out, but I can do other stuff too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have stood behind that forever. Like, I don't think I know some people would like to make you believe that, the youth initiative in pro fishing is just because of this magic video game that you look at and the fish jump in your boat. And I offer anyone to come fishing with me. I can show you how ineffective it can be at times
Oh
and
yeah.
frustrating it can be. But why do you think, I agree with you there. I don't think it's just a scoping thing, but why do you think the youth thing is so strong as it is everywhere in pro fishing right now?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but it's like all sports. You'd see these people in motocross, supercross, these young kids, or they're even dominating in that, and it's not really technology that's doing that. I mean, people pretty much, I don't know, train for it. A lot of people that don't go to school anymore, they train motocross, train for baseball, do all that, and I think it's the same with fishing.
So you mentioned that one of your weaknesses is dirty water, muddy water. Will you spend a bunch of the off season kind of brushing up on that, like taking care of the weaknesses?
Maybe. I mean, we have a couple lakes around here that have dirty water, but I probably won't go do that.
So
I'm just gonna,
what will you do in the off season then?
I don't know. I'm gonna probably go pre-fish some of the lakes, and I have another tournament this winter, the Toyota Championship. I'm gonna go do it, and then I'm gonna go pre-practice, learn some of those lakes that I never heard of we have on the schedule.
What are you most excited about being on the Elite Series? Like, is there a moment where you're looking forward to that?
I would like to make the classic, so I don't know. I'm just gonna try to do the best I can in the points, and hopefully get to there. But I'm looking forward to all of it. I can't wait. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
How stressful was it going down to those last few events for you?
I had a few mishaps at Santee Cooper, which was dirty water, and then Eufaula, Oklahoma. I finished in the hundreds, and after Eufaula, I knew I had to catch them rest of the season. And we went to St. Clair, and I did good. I got 11th by 1 ounce, and then I got 12th at Leech Lake, 10th at Mississippi River, which I wasn't expecting at all, and then I got top 10 in the last tournament. So I knew I had to catch them, and that's what I did. So it all worked out.
All right,
But
let's learn. Sorry, go ahead.
the last tournament when they moved it from Hartwell, 'cause Hartwell's only an hour from here. It's like my second home lake. Oh, me and Emil, we were devastated. Like we were like wanting to cry over the phone about it, but it worked out for us.
It worked out big time. Let's learn about you away from fishing. What kind of music do you listen to?
Every genre that there is, pretty much. I got a playlist that I just add songs to. I've had it since I was in probably 7th grade. It's got every type of music you can imagine.
Have you figured out what your weigh-in song's going to be yet?
I haven't. I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. I didn't even know.
Well, you got to pick something. You got a little time to figure that out. Favorite movie of all time?
I don't know. I like a lot of movies. That's a tough one.
Do you realize you said I don't know no less than 23 times in this 7-minute interview?
I don't know. I don't mean to. That's a tough question, though. I like movies, so I don't know. I've watched a ton of movies.
All right. So if next Saturday you got the day off and you have to do something, you can't just loaf around on the couch, but you can't fish, you can't hunt, what are you doing?
Probably go drive go-karts with my friends or something. Go to Andretti's or one of the go-kart tracks.
You're a big karter.
Not really, but we've been into that here the last couple weeks, so probably go do that.
Good times. Good times. Is there a pro on the Elite Series that you look towards and you're like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to be fishing against that guy?
Pretty much all of them. They're all good. They're there for a reason, so I can't wait to compete with them. It's going to be a dream come true, really.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to have you on the Elite Series. Awesome to have the entire Elite Series class. If you can't pick yourself to win Rookie of the Year, out of those other 8 anglers, who do you think is going to win Rookie of the Year?
I mean, it could be any of them. We're all good.
You almost said it again, didn't you?
I know. I caught myself. It could be any of us. I mean, we're all really good. Obviously, we had a really strenuous schedule with all types of fishing on it, and we can all do it all, obviously. So we're gonna be tough to beat for sure.
Did you like the 9 events to qualify?
I did. I didn't like it. They changed it the year after I did the 1 division. I didn't like it then, but now after having to go through it and making it, I mean, to make it through that and be in the top 9, I mean, it's something to be proud of. It's definitely really tough.
You a superstitious guy at all?
Pretty superstitious.
Oh, how superstitious? Tell me, is there like a ritual you go through?
I won't go to the bathroom, drink any water, or eat a snack until I have a limit, usually.
That's not a bad, I mean, hopefully it doesn't take too long. So that's it. It's just those things? You don't have a lucky hat, lucky underwear?
I do have a lucky hat. I don't know where it's at right now, but I wore it. I don't know. I won the All-American in it, and I think I wore it in every tournament after that. So it's been my lucky hat.
It works. Will you wear that hat on the Elite Series?
Probably. I actually got another one that's the exact same hat that I'm trying to break in, but I don't think it's as lucky.
It doesn't have the same mojo.
I don't think so.
What defines a lucky hat? Is that just the results, or can you tell when you take it out of the package this one's special?
I don't know if like the only time I ever really change hats, if it like blows off my head and I don't find it or something, then I get a new one, and if I don't catch them good in that one, I'll get another one, wear it until I'll just sift through them until I find a good one, then I wear it out until I lose it. Or
works for me. I'm looking forward to having you on the Elite Series, dude, and I'm glad we finally got this this done. But tell me something that you would like the world to know about you that they don't.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I don't know if I have any more questions. Do you?
Okay. I don't think so. I'm looking forward to next year though, and getting you to weigh me in. I've watched a lot of weigh-ins, been to a couple classics, so really looking forward to that.
It'll be a fun time. I am looking forward to seeing you there. Congrats on making the Elite Series, and we'll see you soon.
All righty. Appreciate it. Bye.
Tucker Smith, welcome to the Bassmaster Elite Series. How does that feel?
Pretty crazy, man. I didn't expect it at all, and for it to happen as fast as it did is really amazing. I didn't, going through the whole season, it felt like a marathon, but it happened so quickly.
How can you say you didn't expect it? I mean, you're a 3-time national high school champion, a 2-time national college champion. You won the Johnny Morris U.S. Open. I mean, if anybody has done the steps the whole way up, it's you. Do you really not expect it, or is that just a cool thing to say on a podcast?
No, I really didn't. I'm serious, because that's a big step. It's a big jump. The guys that are fishing the Opens are some of the best fishermen in the world. It's not just your average Joes out there. So they're really stout for sure. And yeah, I've had some success along the way, but really taking it to the next level in the Opens is something, a lot more. It's a lot harder to fish those tournaments, I feel like. I mean, that was the hardest season of my life.
What makes them so tough?
I'd say the 5 days of practice with 200 plus anglers. The lakes are so pressured, and the fish always change every tournament. By practice to the tournament, the fish adjust every time to doing something completely different. So you're never really going to find them in practice doing something and go back in the tournament and catch them the same way. It's more going to be like the fish are going to shift and do something completely different. And then also, I don't know. There's a bunch of really good fishermen.
There's some good ones on the Elite Series, but less pre-fish. Are you expecting, and I know you'll try to answer this. I mean, everybody hates to be pigeoned into, I'm not saying this will make it easier, but are you expecting a lack of pressure almost? You got half as many anglers competing and half as much pre-fish. Are you expecting the fishing to be better on the Elite Series than it was in the Opens?
No, I mean, obviously the competition is going to be the best in the world, but I think that the fishing will be better with not as much practice. But I think, yeah, it's definitely going to be just as hard or harder than the Opens with the Elite Series people in it, because I mean they're the best in the world, obviously.
How has this last week been for you since qualifying?
It's been really crazy. I've just been at the house. I live in Gunnersville now, so just been at the house, kind of trying to relax and fish a little bit, and trying to take it all in.
Have you sought counsel in your tournament partner, Logan Parks? Obviously, he went through exactly what you're going through 12 months ago.
What do you mean by seek counsel?
Well, just asked him what he think. I mean, I was just trying to make me sound smart. Just asked him what you should be prepared for, any mistakes that he might have made, or ways he would have done things different.
Yeah, I've talked to him and about it. I've talked to Rob G as well, a couple other guys. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty surreal. Like you say, what are you going to do fishing the Elite Series? It's like, it hasn't set in for me yet. I don't think it's going to set in until you call my name out the first morning. That's really when it's going to set in.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. And it's not something I'm shocked. I mean, with you, I think many people just felt it wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when you were going to make the Elite Series. But you've been surrounded your entire career by some amazing mentors, some amazing people. I mean, the first person first time I ever heard your name, it came from Aaron Martins. And a lot of people, the first time they heard about Tucker Smith was from Aaron Martins. And there's not much better mentor than him. And the amount of work that's been put into you. What do you think Aaron would say?
I don't want to get emotional about it at all, but Leslie actually commented on my Facebook, and she was saying, Aaron, I don't think he would be surprised one bit. So that really meant a lot to me, and yeah, I know he would be extremely excited for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited for you. You look at your rookie class, pretty incredible class. I mean, last year was the year of all the young people, and you classify as that as well. But this year, if you look at some of the accolades of some of the 9 that are coming, it's a very accomplished young rookie class.
They're stout, for sure. It's going to be stout.
Who will you be traveling with?
Paul Marks, for sure. And then, I don't know, we might, talk to maybe Emil and Loberg. We're not sure yet. I think Logan's kind of got his running group already sorted out. So I'm not sure yet. We're going to have to figure that out.
Well, you got a few months to figure that out. Sponsors and everything, is that all figured? I mean, because of one of the nice things about everything you've done up to this point, you have set up a lot of relationships already to this point, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does this change for them? Like, does this mean you get a pay raise, or just mean congratulations, you're not fired? Or
I mean, I would hope a little bit of both. I'm definitely reaching out to a couple more people this year, trying to raise a little bit more money and be able to be comfortable next season.
Well, one place that you are definitely comfortable is on the water. I'm not going to classify you as an angler, but if you were to tell me who you are as an angler, explain who Tucker Smith is as an angler. What do you excel at? What do you struggle with?
You mean like just fishing on the lake? What do I excel at? I've really, especially from going with Aaron a lot, he's taught me a lot about side scan. I'd say I'm really good at reading side scan, and down scan, and then I would say something that I'm not super good at. Man, I'm not too.
It's
something
good
that
when it takes you a while to think of what you're not good at.
I mean, I'd say like, probably like flipping bushes or something like that, like a Greg Hackney kind of style. I used to fish a lot of grass growing up and flipping and stuff like that, but I haven't flipped heavy cover recently. I know that I would say one thing that I'd probably like to get better at is flipping the submerged grass. That's something that a lot of those guys up north do, like Fighter and all those guys flipping that submerged stuff. That's something that Andrew Loberg, I know he does a lot of that. So that's something I would like to get better at.
When you identify something like that you say, hey, I want to get better at that, do you specifically go to work on it in the off season?
I'd say for sure. Gunnersville is one of the best places to do that. I mean, it's full of grass that's submerged. So, I mean, a lot of people catch them that way out here too. So I'm definitely going to spend some time doing that as well.
Okay. Who are you off the water? What kind of music do you listen to?
A little bit of everything, man. I'm not picky. I really love music. I mean, I like all kinds of stuff. Rock, country, rap, you name it.
Favorite movie of all time?
I'm not sure. I'm not much of a movie guy. I'm more of a YouTube guy. I watch a lot of YouTube.
What
TV
is your
shows.
So do you have a favorite YouTube channel, or is it just all over the place?
It's the Dave Mercer podcast.
Freaking right. See? I
watch a lot of fishing stuff. I watch a ton of fishing stuff. That's the biggest thing. I watch a lot of old Bassmaster. That's my favorite thing, to sit down and watch old Bassmaster videos.
Yeah, they don't They don't get old. It is amazing looking back at some of that. Some people, when they see some of those, they'll look at forward-facing sonar and they'll think that those moments will never happen. Are you one of those people who believes that, or do you find today's fishing just as exciting?
I find everything just as exciting. I think it's fun no matter what. If you're catching them, you catch them, and I think even looking back at those older videos, it's still a blast to watch. You see those guys just absolutely jacking them on all kinds of stuff. So it's fun to watch.
Well, you're going to be a lot of fun to watch this year on the Bassmaster Elite Series. You're part of a great group of rookies. I can't wait to watch you guys battle it out. And if nothing else was proved in this 10 minutes, it's proved that I mean, I did not expect you to pick my channel, but I do appreciate that you did. And I won't hold it against you when I watch other shows and you say their channel. I understand it's just business. Thanks for doing this, dude.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
I don't know why, but I don't know who sings the song. Isn't it Whitney Houston? Finally, it is happening to me. It's kind of what's going through my head right now. Finally, you're coming to the freaking Elite Series, Cody.
You know what, Dave? I am so excited, and you're right. I mean, I'm gonna put that song on a post or something here, because you're right. This has been a long time coming, and I was just telling this story. I did a lot of years on the FLW Tour, course BPT, and every single year, maybe not the first 6 months of the FLW Tour, but people always ask me, why aren't you doing the Bassmaster Elite Series? So after all these years, I never thought it would take me this long to come over. But yeah, I mean, 20 years of fishing, and we're finally here. Finally here.
I don't know why that song came out, but it literally, like as I started talking, I'm like, that's what was ringing through my head. And I think it's Whitney Houston. Who knows who sang it, but we can do some research afterwards. I mean, there's a bunch of people that, excuse me, this 9, very different than last year's 9. There's a lot of accomplishments, but accomplishments are, hold on, let me take a drink of water.
Yeah.
I'm really good at this podcasting thing. See what happens when I sing?
Hey, you at least I'm not singing, because it'd be bad.
But accomplishments are hard to walk away from. You are very accomplished everywhere you've fished. This had to be, I mean, was there moments where you're like, what am I thinking?
There really was. I was really close to pulling the trigger the previous year, when Bobby and Ish came over and fished the opens, and right at the end I got scared. And so last year, really on the last event, it was funny. We were at Saginaw Bay. This is a BPT 23. I made the top 10, and I went out there and I started catching them, and it's the 5 fish, and I don't know why. The whole score tracker and stuff, I was so turned off that right then and there I said, you know what, this is it. This is the last event I'm going to fish. I'm going to do the opens. But yes, 100%, I was scared to death when we sat in that meeting in Okeechobee. And like I say, I've done this so many times, but I sat in that meeting and I thought, oh my gosh, am I making the right decision? Because I look around and you see all these young kids, that are half my age. I got a lot more experience than them, but with the trend, with the live scope and stuff, they're definitely up to date on that. And I've had a few moments this year where I was definitely terrified, but I really feel good about this accomplishment, because I really took a bet on myself and gambled, and like, hey, if I'm going to do it, now's the time to do it. And ultimately I knew this is where I wanted to be, but man, it's terrifying. I mean, those opens, that's a gauntlet, and you're truly getting the best anglers in the world to come up to the Elite Series.
Yeah, it's to hear you call it terrifying after everything you've accomplished. But I mean, Greg Hackney said it was the scariest thing he's done in his entire career, and that's a dude who's won literally everything but the Bassmaster Classic there is to win in pro fishing.
Yeah.
As it went on, I mean, what was that last event like?
The last event was it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, because
I
you
really
were.
didn't look at the points, and I had a 110-point gap, so I was like, okay. And when we switched from Hartwell to Martin, I saw the roster was 120 guys, and all of a sudden in practice, I'm like, man, I just got to beat 10 guys. Like, how am I going to beat 10 guys? And I thought, why am I thinking about beating 10 guys? But that's what these opens will do, because you just want in so bad. I was so close, and the thought of, possibly not making it was really scary. But I'll tell you what, I mean, the first few, um, I had doubts. Like, can I do this? I finished 37th and 31st, I think, and I'm like, man, I don't know. And throughout my career, I've always kind of been just a steady, chug along, in around that top 50. And really, it wasn't till we were starting to go up north. Like, I love fishing up north. I've never been to Leech, but I talked to Gussie about that, a year or two ago. We used to travel together on
Yeah.
FLW tour, and so I knew I'd like that, and I knew I loved the Mississippi River and St. Clair, and so once we got to a point I was kind of in, I'm like, all right, well, at least I'm going to my comfort zone. But the problem with the opens is one slip and you're completely out of it. So I never felt really safe until I checked in 30 minutes early on Lake Martin both days.
Well, you're safe. I mean, almost won Angler of the Year if it wasn't for Easton Fothergill, who is, I don't know if he's real. I feel like he
I
might
know.
be AI. I mean,
Yeah.
Emil said
Yeah.
that they did something during that brain surgery. They put an extra part in him or something.
Yeah.
But it sure seems like it. Like he is to win the college bracket, you see those guys come and you wonder what happens. But to back that up by winning 2 opens this year, winning the EQ Angler of the Year, he's going to
Yeah.
be a problem.
He is going to absolutely be a problem. I was talking to Fighter at St. Clair, and he said, man, he's going to, this is a guy that's going to contend like for Angler of the Year next year, I feel like, in the Elite Series. And the guy going into the last one, he had 28 points on me for Angler of the Year. I've had some Angler of the Year runs, back in the day, and I felt like this was a great chance at it. But then I looked and I'm like, he's not going to finish below 28. So I don't think I have a chance. And he didn't. But that guy is quiet, and you're going to have a great name for him, something with, he's like a Jason Christie type thing. Like, he's quiet, he's confident, and he's amazing at fishing. Like, I have never seen young kids. I wasn't even on the tour, when he's doing all this here. And Dave, I got to tell you something's funny. He'll probably mention it, but back in the day, I was at another event, a cup event in Grand Rapids, and I guess I came up to him. He was a young kid there. We did this small event, and I started talking to him, and he was like, "Man, that's really cool. It's Cody Meyer, and I've always looked up to you." And I talked to him, and I don't remember what I said or remember the conversation, but I said, "Well, Easton, how old were you back then? Because didn't seem like it was that long ago." He goes, "I think I was in the 8th grade." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, 8th grade." So this is what we're getting. We're getting these young kids like that are just amazing, and he is 100% one of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of those weird things happening. I mean, Beau Browning. It is so weird for me to think I'm going to introduce Beau Browning because he is like the little kid who sat in the front row watching his dad weigh in.
Yeah.
And even weirder than that, I'm going to at some point see his dad sitting in the front row playing soccer dad and watching Beau. So
Yes. I saw Steven, I fished against him last year. I saw him all year at almost every event, and doing that. And he's sitting there biting his nails. And man, I know he's definitely a proud parent. But yeah, it's like full circle. I mean, here we go. Like father, like son. I was really excited for Beau at the end. I know that was a tight battle, and I was happy to see him make it for sure.
how, let's get away from the nerve-wracking thing. What was there a technique that drove you to this year, or was it a lot of versatility throughout the whole season?
I would say it was a lot of versatility. I was probably the most old school fishermen in there. I like to fish everything, from finesse to, I love fishing shallow. The one thing I did learn, I roomed with the kid, Tristan McCormick. He's an up and comer, and he really taught me how to live scope better. Now, I'm not good by any means. All these guys, Emil and Paul Marks and Fothergill, and oh my gosh, just like the rookie class last year. I'm nowhere near that. I have so much to learn. But, I think the thing for me was when the schedule was out, it looked pretty good. And I really like that longer season, because
Yeah.
I've typically always struggled in the Floridas, to start the year, that pre-spawn. And I don't know why, I just always seem to struggle. And then as the year progresses on, I can kind of, maintain consistency and catch back up. So I thought, the 9 really suits me. But all year it was junk fishing for me. I think the opens, what you don't realize, like people, on the outside, you got, or at least this year, 4.5 days of practice, which is crazy amount of
A
practice.
lot.
The fisheries definitely get hammered pretty good. And then, you got 225 anglers out there. So whatever you find to practice come tournament time, it's like you got to scrap most of it and just go fishing.
That had to be really hard for you to get adjusted to. When you fished FLW, you fished against giant fields, but for the
Yeah.
last number of years, you've been fishing against 40 guys, and now you're fishing against 225. I mean, how tough was that to get used to?
That was tough because, when you're going against 40 guys, the most obvious points, spots, creeks, docks, you could fish and you could practice them. And the opens, whatever is obvious, you cannot even attempt to fish it because it's going to get fished 40 times that day. And so I just had to kind of learn how to practice, I guess, and I really struggled with that the first part of the season because in my mind, I was still doing what I've done the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. And it wasn't until the end of the year where I started practicing a little bit better and seeing spots where I'm like, man, that looks really ugly. Let's go over there. And I think Leech Lake was the best. I was fishing boulders out there scoping. There's giant smallmouth in there. There's not a big population, but there's a ton of big boulders offshore. And that's what everyone fishes, kind of like Mille Lacs when Fighter won that AOY deal years ago. Well, the second day, actually back up to the end of the first day, I got tired of being in the crowds and I went up on the bank and I threw my bait in literally probably 10 inches of water and I got snagged. And as I was going up there, I saw 15, 20 giant smallmouth, 3.5 to 5 pounders, looking at my bait. And I thought, what the heck? And this is in an area where there's 40 boats behind me, 200 yards behind me. So the next day I started up there. I had 24 pounds, a heck of a day. I was culling a lot of 4-pounders. And I started running this pattern where wherever I saw the most boats, I would go right up on the bank. And so all that pressure literally pulled them up on the bank. So those fish were out there in practice, and then 225 boats, 4 days, tournament days, they escaped, and we had to scrap all that and just go fishing. And they slid out and did something completely different than they were doing. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, it seemed like what every event was like. There was always something different, something changing, and just you had to adapt on the fly. And it's crazy to see how these younger guys were able to do that too, so fast and with just not as much experience, and just went out there and hammered them.
Tell me about yourself away from fishing. I know fishing absorbs your life, obviously,
Yes.
but who are you? If you can't say the word fishing, who are you? What kind of person are you?
I would say, I'm a father of 2. I'm a husband. I, without saying the word, I would say family man. Love being home with my kids. They're at a great age where they're 9 and 7. So we got softball and baseball and pumpkin patches and karate. Just an outdoorsman. Love for the sport. I love to see where it's going, but I'm an outdoorsman that has really one hobby, but just really loves being home with the family and watching the kids grow up. And just a happy person. Always treat people great. You know, I was raised. My dad always told me, you know, hey, your word's all you got, and so I've always tried to stick by my word and be honest and respectful and just be a good person.
Isn't it amazing things that, like, I remember my parents telling me things growing up, and I
Yeah.
mean, you listen to them, but a lot of things you're just like, yeah, I mean, you don't really know. It's a different time now. And then as you age, you're like, my parents were so smart.
They were so right. I know. And you don't want to listen. And we say that, you know, to my son. I always tell him, I remember my dad in basketball. I played basketball, and he'd always be that dad, you know, yelling, hustle, hustle. And I was so embarrassed. And now here I am. My son plays basketball and softball. I'm like, hustle, Dustin, hustle. And he looks and he just shakes his head. So, yeah, but, you know, that's what I am. Outside of fishing, definitely just really enjoy being home and doing stuff with the family. And just, you know, we have this grueling schedule. We're gone so much. So I feel like I miss out. And so when I'm home, I really want to absorb all that in and just and try to be a great father.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's, you know, with as much as people travel, it's wild. I have friends who live at home and have never, you know, they live, when I say at home, in the town that I went to school with them and everything, and they've never traveled, but
Yeah.
they're not at as near as many things as I am, even because, I mean, they might work 9 to 5 and be home, but Monday night they got softball, Tuesday night they got poker, whatever, you know, whatever their schedule is. But I
Yeah.
think you hear that a lot. Well, from successful families, I think that do what you do for a living. When you're at home, you're all in.
You're all in. Yeah. And people always laugh. Tristan, he'll call and, you know, I won't answer or whatever. And he'll go, hey, can you go walk the dog so I can talk to you? And you know what? It's kind of embarrassing saying that, but it's really true. You know, like when I'm home, I'm really trying to focus on being home. But then when I get bored, I come out in the garage and tinker a tackle. And you know, as a fisherman, your mind never shuts off, right? Like this whole year, you're thinking about the next event, and it just makes time fly by. But you know, I'm already thinking about the Elite Series. I mean, it's crazy to even say that. It sounds so great to say Bassmaster Elite, but thinking about Florida and so it's like this brutal cycle. It's so much fun, but an old man told me this one time. He goes, every time you're at an event, there's always something that you're looking forward to the next one, right? And so you get done with that event, you're not really focused on that one. Maybe you get to the next one, and all of a sudden something happens there, and you're looking forward to the next one, and the years just fly by.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy. It's so scary, but I'm definitely trying to enjoy the present here, and then looking forward to St. John's River in Florida too.
Okay, last question. I think I know the answer to this, but you know, a lot of times in podcasts, people will have like a backdrop that is just books and stuff, but it's just a backdrop. Your
Yes.
friggin' backdrop looks so organized that, like, I question that it's real. Is that just a pull down?
Hey, this is definitely real. We got a bunch of, well, Gussie said, a bunch of Garys up there. So a bunch of Yamamotos and evergreens. And I did this because I had so much tackle. And with Tackle Warehouse, they come up to my house and we film a lot of videos. And so I thought, I need to make a backdrop. Now, I don't want to pan that way or that way because it's not as pretty. But right here in the middle, it definitely looks good. But yeah, ton of Yamamoto. And this has become where my nephew, his friends, they come over and they just raid this wall. So seems like I'm always stocking it up for sure and making it look pretty.
It's the most effective way to do it. Like, I've tried back in the day, I tried like crates where you'd be like, okay, these are all my flatworms or whatever, you know, these are all my jigs. But
Yeah.
I'd always find, like, the end of the season, I'd be like, well, there's the color I was looking for 2 months ago that I couldn't find. Like that,
Yeah.
having a wall to stare at is, I mean, we all just want to be a little kid in a tackle store. So if you can do it in your garage, you're pretty lucky.
You're lucky. And you know, you mentioned that too. Like I grew up in Northern California, the Clear Lakes Delta, and then moving to Idaho. I'm so far from the tour. So when I load up the truck, I load it up for the whole year. So I'm right there with you. Like I try to be organized in the truck and the boat, but it seems like every tournament I'm coming home with a are going back to the event when I leave my house with a backpack full of stuff, and then it just gets scattered throughout the truck throughout the year. So yeah, organization is key. It's I wish I was like that with everything, but at least we got a beautiful wall here.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it looks good. Just don't pan the camera. Dude, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to having you on the Elites, and I thank you for doing this, and it'll be here before you know it.
I know, Dave. I got to work with you a couple times a long time ago in those TTBCs.
Yeah.
I've always really, respected you, and you do a great job. So I'm looking forward to being there next year, and just appreciate you guys, and excited for 2025.
Well, I'll try not to screw up your opinion of me next year.
No, no, it's all good, man.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Easton Fothergill, you have had, quite a couple of years here. I mean, a month after brain surgery, you qualified and for the Bassmaster. What's happening here? Are you getting calls?
Yeah.
Put it on Do Not Disturb. We'll start over again. It's okay. I'll cut this part out for you.
All right, we're good. Sorry about that.
Okay. Oh, no worries. No worries. I'm supposed to remember. I actually have a post-it up that says, tell them to put their phone in Do Not Disturb, like for every guest, and I never remember. So it's as much my fault. All right, we'll start again. Easton Fothergill, you have had an incredible 2 years. A month after brain surgery, you win the bracket, qualify for the Bassmaster Classic, and then you go fish the Bassmaster Classic, fish the Opens, and not only re-qualify for the Bassmaster Classic by winning an Open, but win 2 Opens, and you were the EQ Angler of the Year. And just saying that, you're 22 years old, and you make me feel like a total loser.
No, it was an incredible season, and I couldn't have dreamt it any better. Just the way it gone, and literally all season long, the 10 tournaments. I don't know how many days I fished, but I can only remember one day that didn't go my way, and that's just bad decision making on my part. And fish losses, I only had to two that would have mattered all year. I can just think back on so many fish catches that just one treble hook, that sort of thing, and they all came into the boat all year long, and everything was just going my way. And yeah, it was an incredible year and a miracle year, really.
When you see how difficult it is to qualify for the elites, I mean, you see pros that are trying and have been so close so many times to knock it out as quick and as easily as you have. I mean, I'm be honest, if I was you, I literally would just walk around I would be the most arrogant, disconnected idiot on earth. How do you stay so grounded? Like, is fishing always been this easy to you?
No, it definitely hasn't been. I guess when I had first moved south in my college, I'm from Minnesota, but I went to college in Alabama. The first 2 years fishing down south in Alabama was, a wake-up call for me. I'd realized that I really don't know much. And, the first 2 years was definitely a huge learning curve for me. And, the college fishing, how I did it, how I went down south in Alabama and really, became a more, diverse angler. That's the sole reason why I'm having the success I am, just because, my background up north and now down south, and just being able to travel around doing the college deal, that is 100% the reason why. I've just seen so many places and so many, there's just been so much stuff thrown at me the last 4 years. I kind of understand how to handle everything, and I attribute all my success to going to Montevallo and learning how to fish there.
Talk to me about that, learning how to fish, because I don't think people truly understand what college kids are like, to me, from the outside, and this is what it looks like to me. You fish the Opens, you fish all sorts of things. Nobody really teaches you. You got buddies who will share the odd thing with you, but you don't always know that's true. But in college, it feels like you take a kid from Minnesota and you put a kid from California. They have totally different approaches, a kid from Florida, whatever. And you guys actually teach each other as part of that team environment. Is that correct, do you think?
That is 100% correct. I guess myself, I was kind of a little bit unique. My high school partner, actually Nick Dumpke, who I did all of high school with, we both decided we want to do this. We want to really pursue this. So we both went to Alabama together and decided to fish together in college as well. And, we both just wanted it really bad. And we were both just a sponge all 4 years, just taking in anything we can, any learning experience. But yeah, going back to what you said, we have a boat shed there at Montevallo. It holds like 30 boats. And you could go there at literally any time of the day and just, talk to someone about fishing. And I can't even describe how much I've learned at that boat shed. Just, you can pick someone from the Coosa River and, pick their brain. We got people from California. You can go talk to them about throwing a big glide bait. People from, tidal fisheries, go ask them some questions. And it's just that for 4 years just builds, your knowledge, your toolbox. And it's just, I can't even fathom how much I've learned in that boat shed, late at night, 10 o'clock at night, talking to different kids and then going able to apply that on the water. It's wild how much I've learned just from all my teammates at Mount Val.
Yeah, and they actually, the thing that I've noticed is it's like anything. If you've never thrown any bait, insert bait, a drop shot, you've never thrown a big swim bait, a glide bait, but if you fish with somebody who's fished it, not only do you see exactly how they fish it, but they impart their confidence in it. And it's pretty wild. I think it's the biggest mover in the industry now. Like, I think everybody talks about forward-facing sonar, obviously, and it's a big player, but I think that is the most overlooked thing that's happening.
I 100% agree. It's just, there's a couple year class of kids, and we're seeing it, that just want it so bad, and they're so driven, and they're starting to filter their way into the Elite Series now, and it's really cool to see just those couple different year classes of kids. Like I said, they got the drive, and they really want to do it for a living. So, and we're seeing that.
Well, you definitely have the drive. Talk to me about that, though. Like, how many days a week are you fishing?
At school, it was, class kind of hindered that, but now that I'm not in school, it's a lot more. I would say it's at least 4 or 5 days a week. I'm out on the water.
And what will you do in the next coming months before the Elite Series?
I'm gonna fish as much as I can, keep my mind sharp, and just, I'm looking at the Elite Series schedule. There's, a couple different, we're going to some new places, and, some techniques might play I'm not, familiar with. So I'm going to go somewhere in Alabama here and, try to learn, I guess, for example, yesterday I was on Gunnersville throwing a big glide bait, just trying to get better at that. Cause I think that might play at a couple events, and just trying to get better every day I'm on the water.
Do you assess, I'm assuming just with what you said, you assess weaknesses in your game, and that's what you work on. Just no different than a golfer that has to work on their short game or their sand game. Is that how you look at things?
That's 100% how I look at things. Being young, everyone looks at me as being a scoper, which is true. I am good at live scope, but I really try to pride myself on not having a weakness. If I do feel like I have a weakness, I'm gonna be relentless on making sure that's not a weakness, and that's just the way I want to be the most well-rounded angler out there, and that's really what I'm striving towards.
Where did this work ethic come from?
My dad distilled it in me. He taught me from day one, if you want to succeed in anything in life, you got to outwork your competitors, and I've really learned that from him. And it was funny in the open season. It was glaringly obvious who was the top 10 in points, because they were the first ones at the ramp. And if someone, got off the water after me, I could promise you they were top 10 in points. Like, you could literally pick out the top 10 at the boat ramps. It was really cool to see.
Wow, that's very cool. That's very cool. Do you have a moment in your history where you were like, man, I need to figure out a way to do this for a living? Or has all this just organically happened?
It was high school. Obviously I've watched the Elite Series for as long as I can remember. High school, I was like, yeah, maybe. And then when I got to college and actually started traveling the country a little bit more, I realized, like, I really like this, and, I got to find a way to really pursue this. And that's when I started really taking college fishing to heart, and, putting 110% into it, just learning as much as I possibly could while I was on the school's dollar. And that's when I really realized, like, I need to make this happen some way.
All right, let's get to know you away from water, because all I know is you're a fish catching machine. You actually are somebody like that already. How cool is it that you have so much? I don't even know if you realize how much respect people speak of your name. You are respected to the point where almost feared going into the Elite Series. Like people would rather it take you a few more years. Do you understand that?
I guess I have not realized that, but that's pretty cool to hear.
Who are you outside of fishing? Let's say next Saturday, you're free. You can't go fishing. You got a day and you got to do something. What are you doing?
I love playing basketball. That's my second passion. I'm a diehard basketball fan, huge Minnesota Timberwolves fan. I love playing it. So when I'm not fishing, a lot of times I get home late at night from fishing and I'll go to the gym here at school and play basketball with anyone who's there. That's my second biggest passion. I love basketball.
Wow. Take on Jason Christie. He's a big baller. Who's the most intimidating pro in the Elite Series? Or maybe they're not. You got to experience a lot of them fishing the Classic.
I think it varies lake to lake. There's, they're all intimidating to me just because, I've looked up to them for so long that, they're kind of, it's, I don't know. They're all idols to me. So I'm honestly intimidated by almost all of them. But, it's funny going into the first Open of the year. It was my first ever Open at Okeechobee, and I was very intimidated there. And it's, the first Elite Series at St. John's. I'm going to go through the same exact thing, kind of intimidated and, just going to do my best to block all that out and, hopefully do my job. But it's just funny how 2 years in a row I'm going through that same mental process.
It's very amazing. What kind of music are you into? What's your favorite band?
I'm really big on Whiskey Myers right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. They're big on the Elite Series, so you probably just made them. I mean, they're upset. Again, it shocks me. I mean, there's a lot of different people of notoriety, whether it be sports people or actors and stuff, that through the years you meet and someone says, oh yeah, they're in the Elite Series. But those dudes, like, they follow it. They watch weigh-ins. They know everything that's going on.
That's awesome.
Which I think is amazing, like, to me.
Yeah.
So you're a Lee Livesey fan then, obviously.
I love Lee Livesey. He's a badass. I love him. Love following him.
That's a great way to explain him. What is your biggest concern going into 2025?
Biggest concern? I guess I don't know. I really don't have one. Just trying to be as consistent as I can on the water is my focal point. Like I said, making sure I have no weaknesses, and I'm not really expecting to go out there and win, but I just want to be a consistent angler. It's what I'm striving for. So,
did you expect to go out there and win in the Opens?
Absolutely not. That was not in my cards. Like I said, driving to Okeechobee, I never would have thought I would have won 2 Opens in my first season. It's wild.
It is wild, but it's amazing to see. Does Carl Jacobson owe you large?
I wouldn't say that. Maybe he owes me a friendship. I'd love to get closer with him, and it was super cool though. Him reaching out to me after I won Leech Lake was super cool moment for me. Just kind of thanking me, and it was super cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Leech, there was a lot of hype. I mean, literally going into Leech, I heard from everybody that it is the field against Easton. And you delivered, which is one of the hardest things to do on your home body of water.
Yeah, and it was really hard to block out, honestly, because, I'm out there practicing, and there's, like, guide boats and pontoons all driving by honking their horns saying, go Easton, and just it was really hard to block all that out and just realize that I still have a job to do, and, it was – and just how all that unfolded. I had so many friends and family there at that weigh-in. That was definitely a moment I'll never forget my whole life.
What about the business of fishing? I would think, I mean, although it's a weird time in business, I mean, there's a lot of companies pulling back, but I would think with what you've accomplished in the last, 18 months, you are one of the most hyped pros out there. Has there been a lot of interest sponsor-wise with you?
There's been a fair amount, yeah. It's definitely, all the Opens. So I won the Classic bracket, so basically all my, finances were paid for this year through that. And, I've basically been telling everyone, let's work on the year 25, whether I make it or not, I'm going to have a big financial burden in the 25 year, whether I'm trying to qualify or not. And that's kind of what I've been talking to everyone, like, hey, I'm good this year, but let's start a relationship and, work for 25. And now that I qualified, and yeah, it's everything's kind of going my way. That's you can feel it's a lot easier to kind of get the new partnerships, and yeah, that's definitely the side of the game I'm still learning is the business side, and I know I gotta get that level with my fishing side, but I'm learning fast, and I'm still a sponge. I'm learning every day, and I'll get there.
Last year, the 9 qualifiers from last year, they were very tight. It felt like not that they were all best friends, but that process of going through the 9 events, they all had a connection with each other. Do you feel that same connection with the 8 other qualifiers this year?
I definitely feel that. Yeah, it's when we all qualified at Martin, we all we're sitting there in the parking lot all in a circle, kind of congratulating each other, saying nice work, let's go do this, that sort of thing. That was a really cool moment. But I would say 5 out of the 9 I've been friends with for a couple of different years now, so it's definitely a pretty tight-knit group, and I'm really excited to see what we can all do next year.
Tell me something about one of the qualifiers that maybe people don't know. And remember, they'll have the opportunity to say something about you, so don't be softballing this.
Trying to think of something I can say on here.
I mean, I don't know if you've watched this podcast, but you can pretty much say whatever you want.
I guess Beau Browning will outfish anyone in the whole world with a chatterbait. I've seen it firsthand. That's the only thing I can come up with.
That's some bullcrap, Easton. I gotta be not that Beau can't. Maybe he can. I'm pretty sure he can, but that's really weak. I'm going to tell Beau you said all sorts of horrible things, and he will open up and he'll defend himself. He was your
something terrible.
He was your travel partner this year?
Yeah, he was. Yep.
What that's got to be a pretty cool perspective. It's weird for me because I remember watching Beau watch his dad weigh in, like sitting in the front row, and now to be introducing him this year, it's weird, but he must have brought a pretty unique perspective to
he did. Yeah,
things.
He's very knowledgeable on how everything works, from his dad, and we have very different backgrounds. He's from Arkansas, I'm from Minnesota. We kind of came together in Alabama, so we kind of have every corner of the country, kind of covered, I guess. And basically everywhere we went, one of us would have an idea on just a starting place, something to start on, and then we could expand from there. So us working together this year was definitely a really cool deal, and yeah, it was super fun just the way it all unfolded. It was pretty crazy.
Is the plan to continue working together in the elites?
I'm sure we'll work together a little bit. We're actually not going to travel together. I'm actually going to travel with Dakota Ebare and film some stuff with Strike King. So
makes sense.
But I'm sure we'll still talk some fishing, definitely.
Do you think it's imperative to work with somebody now?
I mean, it's definitely possible not to, but it'd be a lot harder. I'm learning more and more that there's a lot more, teams and people that work together out there than I originally thought. Like there's a lot of little groups of guys all working together, and that's something I really didn't realize when I was a little bit younger. And I kind of feel like you got to find someone you trust and really work with them to bring your game up to one more level. I kind of feel like you got to have some sort of a team.
And to be honest, I don't know that you saw it wrong when you were younger. It has changed in the last number of years. Like really, you'd see teams fast, but generally it was like one member of the team was hitting home runs and the other member of the team was not. And that team did not last long. But now it definitely, I wouldn't say it's the norm, but it's definitely not abnormal. A high percentage of people are working with somebody.
Yeah, the example this year I was watching was Jay and Alex Redwine, them working together, and they both really dominated the last couple of events of the elites. So, that's just one example. I know there's plenty more teams out there, but it's kind of cool to see how both, because it's hard in fishing working as a team to have both members have success on the water like they were. So it was really cool to watch how they're, especially at Wheeler, that was a prime example of how they were working together and, really picking apart water together. It was super cool to see how they handled that.
Well, it's going to be super cool to see you on the Elite Series. I'm excited to have you there. And I've just exposed the one thing you're not good at, and that is trash talking. You are horrible at that.
I know it'll come back to bite me. So,
well, once again, congratulations, and thanks for doing this. We'll see you very soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Can't wait to share a stage with you next year.
I'm just, yeah, we'll see you there. So there you have it, the new 9. And by the looks of things, the Elite Series is not about to get any easier, that's for sure. I thank them all for coming on the show. I thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, if you've enjoyed this, make sure to rate, comment, subscribe. I mean, we love those ratings on the streaming service. Listen to Spotify, wherever you're listening to. Make sure to give us a rating there. And, hey, come on to YouTube and give us a thumbs up. Whatever. All those comments help. And Lord knows I need help. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. Enjoy being. And until next time, Bob Cobb, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?